where crimes are baked in every show, mysteries rise and truth unfolding. Ready, set, it's time to go. We sing it's time to go. Whistling clues, battering news, mixing stories, solving the lies. In this kitchen, secrets are broken with a spark in our eyes. In the broken baker's kitchen, the secrets crumble like sunrise. We'll sift the blues to find the news with a spark in our eyes. In broken rise, broken rise. Welcome to the broken baker. Get ready. Let's go.
I'm Jimmy. How y'all doing?
The most important people in this case that everybody seems to have forgotten in this room is the jury. So we're going to take a 15-minute break and both sides take a pregnant pause and think about the jury.
Good morning, good evening, good afternoon, wherever you are, whoever you are, what if any you might be. And Mo, today you be Sergeant Goodhair and Sergeant Pornshirt combined.
I married them. I think it's a beautiful marriage.
It's a wonderful couple. If you find out, we both know.
Good God. I was teaching him a lesson, the boy that called Wolf or texted Wolf. I don't really remember, but you don't know me. Excuse me. Are you assuming that I went upstairs?
I had maybe I can have 4 glasses of wine and I'm still myself. We were having one bottle. Today will be, as I said on Know Your Lawyer's Twitter, a car crash going into an atomic explosion, because today will be Sarah Boone taking the stand. The state will rest after Sergeant Goodhair, as far as I know. And then it'll be Sarah Boone who narratively will testify about what had happened was. We will now get the 28th version of the events on that day. It'll be absolutely, I might even have to contribute to my own swear jar, because she will be lying more than she's been doing all the time.
Thank you for becoming a member at the Church of Mo, Marissa. And thank you for your help yesterday, keeping the fort down as I had to run and wrangle feral children.
And I feel better today. Those pills did like the small boy in Holland. They plucked the dike. So Sarah is gonna explain everything.
She will make this all make sense, because we have twisted and, turned her story all around on the internets and we just don't know what's real.
Oh, we should have a pool. Will she mention all of her fans? Will she mention all of the YouTubers? Oh, look at the YouTubers. Jamie will not be joining us today. Jamie, right now, is in the Upper Peninsula of Michigan. There was a sad baby seal incident. She's out there. She's scrubbing them, popping their little noses, making sure each and every one of them will find their moms again. Jamie is just that compassionate. We will suffer, but the seals will flourish because of Jamie.
She got one and she knows how to use it.
There will be tears, but it'll be just like in her interview when she talks about herself.
Yeah.
No analogy so early. I don't know what you're talking about. Filling the swear jar to be on the safe side because we are all gonna need it. Well,
Yeah.
yes, I think today, yes, we will be needing to say, no, you didn't. And
Yeah.
what in the Elvira is going? She's marrying Sergeant Goodhair and Sergeant Cornshirt. This time I remember to say the right word instead of saying the other word. Today should be very
Yeah.
interesting, Disney nerd. Jamie is a wonderful lady. She travels and saves the wildlife. However, does she have time for this? To what an amazing lady Jamie is. Well, we will
Yes.
suffer, but again, all the seals will be Paris. No, be better, not Paris. I need a poll for
Yes.
Mole's hair color and length. Fresh face every day. I tried suggesting this to my wife, but ended up with a severe beating.
Oh, I guess, do you want her to have this hair or do you want her to get a wig? Because I feel like I need to know where we're going with this poll. Like, is it, I desire my wife to have long hair, or is this more of a share love thing? Because I love Cher too, so I can understand.
And if Fedorowski is in here, Mo, can you put the hat on truth on?
Yes.
Fed, are you in here? And do you remember that
Hat of truth.
Pierce Brosnan Bond movie where he's in Russia? I think it was Goldeneye. Doesn't she look like Minnie Driver singing "Stand by Your Man"?
Hey, Minnie Driver was awesome. I'm cool. I'm cool with that. You didn't say Susan Boyle, which is what I got with the eyebrows, so I'm cool with Minnie Driver. Oh, and thank you, Marissa, for $10 for the swear jar fund. I am going to be saying flippin' flapjack a lot today, trying to be good. One might pop out. Is she wearing all black today? Oh, she's super somber. She is super serial, guys.
And she get that little smirk. Oh, look at that smirk.
Oh gosh, it's going to be.
I love this woman.
She is a cartoon character that just keeps giving. If only she hadn't unalived someone. Thank you so much for the $10.
And Brandon, like someone asked me yesterday, do you have a spray so it doesn't smell after you've been to the throne room? Goldeneye, yes. I think I hit it. Yeah. The eyebrows are legendary. Well, we all know
They
that
are.
our favorite streamer, Randy, puts on the eyebrows for verdicts. But let's be honest, in a weird Wilfred Brinkley way, Mo is a little more arousing when she has it on. Combined with the Wilfred Brimley mustache, oh my.
Y'all, honest to Bob, I don't know how men deal with something on the top of their lip. I was like, I'm out. I cannot suffer for my art. Like, just constantly there's something on, your lip. I can't figure it out. You guys, great, but not for me. I'll wait till my beard comes fully in with menopause. Might shave it into a soul patch. Who knows?
Still, we have that lady in my town who has a very, very nice goatee. She has a bigger goatee than I do.
Yeah. This is why I knew that this was going to be a trying day, and I don't typically drink on channels. Like, I'll do little sippy poos, but I don't get drunk. So I thought I'll just get a cupcake to celebrate.
Yeah, the song is by Tammy Lynette, but it's in that movie. It's sung by, I believe, Minnie Driver, and it's wonderful. She's the girlfriend of a mafia boss, and Bond asks him who's strangling the cat, and It's my fiance. Thank you, Gerda, for being a member for 3 months. And wouldn't be the same channel without you. And Shizzy Raiders on most channel. Welcome,
Welcome, guys.
welcome. And as you all can see, and I am the King Grifter. As you can see in the button, we did 20 more subs for Mo yesterday, which
Thank you
brings
guys
us
so
to
much.
only 20 more subs for the big 4K. So if you haven't already considered it, she puts on that wig and that shirt and the hat of truth. If we hit 4K, she will be doing her rendition of Stand By Your Man, which will rival, I'm not saying she will be better than a Mini Driver, but it will rival Mini Driver's Stand By Your Man.
No, I will go get it. The 4,000.
Nonya, I've been hit a lot lately. So, yeah.
Dingus, Lego, and probably cussing a lot. Not gonna lie. Terrible at Lego.
Yeah, she'll probably say, "Can I get a 103-pound man and put him in a suitcase just to show how I did it?" Oh, I need the Louisville Slugger as well. And I am feeling, I'm feeling better today. I still feel like I'm gonna spew the entire time, but the last time you whined about not getting members chat, you got a members chat the same day, Brendan. And it's not I know you sit here and think I called up. Is Zuckerberg the guy who runs YouTube?
No, it's Raja Mahand is the president of YouTube, but is a subsidiary of Google, I believe, not Meta. I think those are different things.
I haven't talked to him either to take away your membership chats. I would love to. I've given you a wrench, Brendan. I am one of the few.
Do you think Owens gave her a Pop-Tart?
Good morning, genitals. She got 2 glasses of water from the bailiff.
Yeah, 260. There's the state of Florida versus Sarah Boone. Pronounce your names for the record, begins with state.
Yeah, sure, I have to say, William J. for the state.
Defense.
James Owens for Sarah Boone.
That's always YouTube makes YouTube things. They do it like every 3 months. They'll unsub you from all the chats, even those you watch every day. So go around, make sure that you are still subbed to channels.
Yes.
County Anderson for Sarah Boone.
Ms. Boone, raise your right hand to be sworn, please. Do you swear or affirm that the testimony she gives shall be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, so help you God?
I do.
Thank you.
Ma'am, good morning. Can you state your full name and date of birth for the record for us?
Sarah Boone, 10-10-7-7.
All right, Ms. Boone is seated.
Is it a Sheen wig?
No, I got it from Amazon, but it's not one of my expensive ones. So I think $20. They're fun, their hair, and I felt like a Kardashian when I went through Walmart. I was like, oh my gosh. And then I realized I'm wearing slippers and kind of breaks up the whole look.
I just thought you had forgotten to put your pants on. Or your mom was running behind you and saying, Ray J is on your next aisle. Let's make that movie.
At council's table.
Okay, I
wearing
didn't feel
black
that much like a
blazer and dark
Kardashian
blue
then.
blouse. She is in custody. However, she is not in any restraints, so we will continue to stand while the jury panel enters and exits. My understanding is that our panel is here this morning. State, do we have any housekeeping matters we need to address before we bring back in our panel?
Yes, sir. 3 discovery issues, and then I filed a motion late last night requesting an in-camera inquiry into a potential conflict of interest. I copied your JA.
I did review the motion.
The 3 discovery issues are these. One, on October 5th or October 4th, I believe the defense was provided with the body-worn camera 911 calls from prior incidents, and there was a request made to tell us what, if anything, should be redacted from their point of view so that we could either reach an agreement or use the court resources to decide any conflicts in those issues. Yesterday morning was the first actual response I got from the defense team, and it was incomplete. It was about 3 of the 5 incidents.
Of course.
I do agree with 2 of the redactions, and we're getting those taken care of. But obviously, just like connecting to the court screen, it takes time, and I'm not the person that's going to be doing it. Somebody else in the office has to do it. The third incident, I think we're still not on the same page as what the state's planning on introduce. So I resent the email with the screenshots of what files the state plans on introducing to the defense team again this morning.
Is it my monitors or is it the stream?
I think it's the stream.
Okay, that's annoying.
I have not heard anything yet from the defense team about the 4th and 5th incident. I was told that Attorney Beck was going to handle it. It is now Tuesday, day 7 of trial, and he has not handled it. Second discovery issue is Friday, I was given a hard copy of 119 pages of the second copy of the Winter Park Advent Health
On
records.
10/18, October 18th, that would have been the preceding Friday.
I was given the hard copy after court at about 5:30, 5:45. I emailed the PDF of those records back to defense as they requested. I put Bates numbers on them. I understand from court what pages they indicated that they want to use and what pages the court indicated should be included at the state's request, which is pages 26 and 48 out of the 111. I would just appreciate if I could get a copy of the intended exhibit as it shall be introduced to the court so I can confirm those things ahead of time and not in court. And then the third thing is, I believe we had a discussion about the plethora of pages regarding the victims' hospital records, and that there was some sort of discussion we had that they were to narrow it down. And I have not been given any narrowed down version of that so that we can confirm we're on the same page or use the court's time if there's a conflict. Thank you.
Okay. Responses to the first discovery issue regarding body-worn camera and 911 calls is to the, my understanding, 5 prior incidents. Defense.
Judge, I can speak to 3 of them. There were 3 of them that I reviewed, and I believe I reviewed them on Sunday. I had made the decision for what I thought needed to be redacted. I think the first 2, if I remember correctly, I said that was fine. We didn't even have any redactions to it. I think it's 1 that I said redactions to, and I think the state agrees with that. The specific one that I didn't quite know, and I think that has to do with a body cam where it comes to, and I believe it's Mr. Torres's mother. I can't quite be for sure, but she's been asking questions and all, and I think it's about, if I can recall correctly, about Mr. Torres's whereabouts at that time. I didn't know the relevance of this at that time, but that was the only part of that to let the state know. I just don't really know the relevance. It could come in at a different point and become relevant. But as to the other 2, I think we were on page with. I had been out to the jail that day. It was late. Then I asked Mr. Beck to do the other 2 redactions, but I hadn't had the opportunity to talk to him about that since. So that's what we did.
So is the third incident that the state has identified for which there's seemingly no responses to redaction, is that the body-worn camera purportedly between law enforcement and Mr. Torres's mother?
That's what I believe it to be.
Mr. J?
We're just
Bless you.
We're just not on the same page. On that third incident,
They are never on the same page. Oh my God, they are so bad at their job.
How the other defense attorney is like, let me step in here. That might could be this,
Yeah,
but
I think
I'm
they mean
new
maybe not.
here. Like, what in the
Thank you, RJ, for
point?
gifting Cookie Carillion a membership. I have to use the green stickers for this one because the blue stickers are the FD got me. Don't have any glue on them. They fall off all the time. Stupid stickers. Yes, we use StreamYard.
Yeah, where is the defense in Narnia right now? Because, you know, the state's like, Aslan's right over there. You want to tell him what your story is? And the defense is like, I have never even been to Narnia. I'm pretty sure I'm in the back of my, wash machine right now.
Yeah, can I just look at my daughter and say, the internet's... Yeah, you're right, Gada. They chose to represent her, so...
Willingly and voluntarily.
15th of 2019. The state only indicated to them that we were intending to introduce one video file. It is not of the victim's mother. It is of them at Sarah Boone's house. And the objection to the files that they were objecting to, which we don't seek to introduce, just said ID, and I don't know that as a legally recognized objection. So I'm confused. I'm not sure. I'm just trying to make sure we're all on the same page. We understand which file the state wants to use regarding the third incident, because he's describing files the state does not intend to use. The first couple of incidents, we agree. There's a 911 call that seemingly cuts off into an OPD call at 3 minutes and 51 seconds. We're cutting that to the end. The second one, Ms. Boone at like 3 minutes and 43 seconds indicates that she had been arrested prior. So we can cut that out. We're going to cut that out of that cat's out of the bag. So what we're looking for now is just making sure we're all on the same page about the third incident. I sent screenshots. There's a tool called Snipping Tool in Windows. I literally create a rectangle around the files that I'm intending to use, their file size, and the folder that includes the OCSO agency case number incident, so we can be as crystal clear as possible. And I'm still getting objections about things we don't introduce on that incident, and I've gotten no response with the fourth and fifth incidents.
All right, addressing the third incident is the specific portions of the June 15, 2019 incident, seemingly the body-worn camera that you're making reference to, Mr. Henderson, the state has no intention of utilizing.
Yes, sir. And it's a lot, so if I can have one more
Sure.
to isolate.
Why didn't you have that before you went to court today?
It's just a lack of organization, a lack of being on top of things.
And Vicky had other channels say they're seasoned lawyers on defense and doing the best they can, but I just see it. It's not argument as such, but what they're supposed to do for trial and act like don't know what they're doing. Vicky, some people are even going so far that they believe that Jesse Owens was the new bias. He would sweep in here with a magic defense that will clear her. Anyone watching this trial, we can maybe agree, but I think it's a strategy that the state isn't going as hard in the paint as they want to not humanize Boone too much. But her defense is lacking. They are underprepared. They were not ready for trial when trial started. And they are, I think Jess said it the best, they are plea deal lawyers. They thought we can swoop in, get our 15 minutes of fame, get her to take a plea deal and stand on court TV the next day. These lawyers, they are better than her going pro se. Not for my pocketbook, but still. I have seen, I would say I've seen more competent pro se defendants because they never understand what they're talking about. They don't understand the internet. They can't figure out how to copy stuff. They are constantly lacking behind. And I'm at this point, I'm even saying they're harming her defense because they are never on. If you don't know what the state is going to bring up next, how can you object to it? So I can't see anyone claiming these lawyers are doing a great job.
That's not the one.
No, Sergeant Goodhair will be there and then they'll rest.
It's talking about the third incident. That would be June 18th.
Here's the problem. I sent these pictures over with the OCSO case number, and then I get a response based on incident dates. So we have to kind of cross-reference. So we can just make the record entirely clear. OCSO incident 18-067501. There was no 911 calls and apparently no objection. So they have no redactions requested for the 2018 case. Then the next response was 6/15/2019 case. And that, for the record, is OCSO 19-054917. Their request on that one was the 911 call that we just discussed, indicating that at 3:51, well, I had to find it, 3:51, it turns into another case, and to redact that again, we agreed. Video 3 in that file, again, no file name, indicates at 9:40 to 9:43, there's a redact request with a paren previous arrest. The state agrees to that. We heard her quickly say that at 9:43, and we will get that taken care of. Then their next response was 6/18/2019 case, which I had cross-referenced back to show that it is OCSO 19-055572. And in that particular case, what I sent them was a screenshot that includes the OCSO case number 19-055572, and it indicates there is an intent by the state to introduce 2 911 calls and 1 video file labeled axon_flex_2_video_2019-06-18.
Happy birthday, Sammy spills the tea. 42, never looked this young.
Happy
I wish-
birthday.
I wish you a very happy birthday. And I know Sarah has something special planned for you. She will give you the birthday gifts of birthdays gifts. But 72, only 15 years older than me. That's if it looks as easy as you make it look, I can't wait to be 42. But happy birthday.
Happy
_1330. My response that I received from them was video 3 in file, 2 minutes 7 seconds to 2 minutes 18 seconds paren ID, and then video 4 in file, 2 minutes and 4 seconds to 2 minutes and 16 seconds paren ID. So my confusion lies in I did not indicate 3 or 4 files, it was just 1 file. And then again, with the other 2.
I don't want to address 4 and 5 yet.
Okay.
My understanding, there's no response. We'll address that momentarily. Response is to the clarification as to what it is the state seeks for incident 3.
No redaction.
Okay, all right. With regard to incidents 4 and 5,
She can't go for that. She has multiple times stated she's agreeing with the choice her defense is making. That's why he asks her.
Mr.
Oh,
J,
that
can you place on
entourage
record what
member
it
in
is
the back
specifically
partied
to those
hard
incidents
last
the state
night.
may be seeking to introduce?
He is not at all well this morning.
He still remembers
Yes, sir. So-
when Sherry said,
What we're calling incident number
it's only
4
$50 for a lap
should be
dance.
OCSO 19-078009, August 28th, 2019.
That's 911 in Danish.
We indicated the desire to use axon_flex_2_video_2019-08-28-2024. And then at their request, they had desired to get photos of Ms. Boone's injuries from that case. There is a 19-page PDF file, which has pictures taken by law enforcement of her injuries. I don't see anything else in there.
They will have to put Sarah on first because without her, they can't have witnesses testify to the battered spouse syndrome. So Sarah will go first. Sarah will be their first witness.
There, one picture of Mr. Torres,
Excuse me,
a couple
yes.
pictures of Mr. Torres, but nothing that the state was objecting to.
Wow.
So that was at their request that they wanted photographs in. So that is incident 4, which is labeled OCSO 19-078009.
Hey, Jesse.
With regard to seemingly the body-worn camera that the state seeks to enter into evidence from August 28, 2019, what say the defense?
I just got a notification. I'm live. Only in half an hour late.
John, I don't know about the state's position on this.
Fernandez Inferno, I said happy birthday to you on Saturday, I believe. Didn't I stream on Saturday or Sunday? I have said happy birthday to you. I remember that. And yes, 22. But Jamie's birthday, is it Jamie's birthday today? I thought that was the 17th of something. Oh,
There's a portion of this video at the very end is very personal to the investigating officer that they may want to redact. We're not asking any of that.
Is the state seeking any redactions?
I'm just clarifying what their redaction requests are in that particular file.
Okay.
If they don't have anything.
So are there any redaction requests with regard to that particular file? Okay.
oh, it's the 17th of June. That's
Just
Jamie's
keep a note,
birthday.
a moment ago.
I remember that vividly. Or maybe January. Maybe. No, it's June. See, Jamie, I remember you. You don't ever remember my birthday.
No, whenever we were apparently like yesterday, it's only used on the third video possibly. And so we haven't really spent a whole lot of time worrying about it since then.
Let me clarify as to what the 5th incident is, just so that we're all on the same playing field.
Okay.
Judge, the 5th incident is OCSO 19-079759, and that was on September 4th of 2019. Within that screenshot that I sent to them,
Yes. Yeah, 19th, just as I said, 19th of June, Jamie's birthday.
Friday and then resent it this morning. Was photographs of the defendant taken at that time at their request. It shows a cut in her ear. It's 3 photographs. Then there is also one body worn camera labeled 1924755. Strike that. 192473549 _ GEN _ INV.
Thank you so
And then
much.
the 911 call from that incident.
They are just
Redactions
discussing
sought by the defense
redactions,
With regard to that specific body worn camera
and
or
defense
911
isn't,
call.
don't understand anything.
However, there are 2 separate videos. One seems to focus on Jorge Torres, one seems to focus on Ms. Boone, and there is clearly some redundancy. They're both body cams. One went upstairs where Mr. Torres was found hiding in the shower or bathroom, bath. I don't know. And so some of that's redundant. So there are actually 2 separate videos pursuant to the 5th.
Mr. J, are there 1 or 2 videos that the state's seeking?
There's one, the one that I listed in the file.
Okay. Do you know if that's a... Bruce, can you find out what counsel's here for? Is that the video from the perspective of, as identified by Mr. Beck, one more geared towards Ms. Boone or one more geared towards Mr. Torres?
My interpretation of both of them is there's interactions with Ms. Boone, and then there's interactions with Mr. Torres upstairs after he's located.
Mr. Beck, the specific file number was identified. So just to confirm, no redactions? Okay, all right. So just as a recap, with regard to the first incident, the 911 call, the parties have agreed to redactions at the timestamp of 351 towards the end. With regard to the...
As I can gather from all of this yippity yap, it's older incidents of violence in the household that they have 911 calls and body worn camera of that they want to introduce.
Having
Second.
looked at some of that body cam footage, I don't know that it puts Sarah in a good light either.
I hope
So-
it's the one where she comes jumping out, "Oh, the police is here," and ends up yelling at the cops for taking Torres away.
Incident, body worn camera, a redaction from timestamp 940 to 943 has been agreed to. With regard to the June 15, 2019 incident, there are 2 911 calls and 1 body worn camera sought by the state, to which the defense has no redactions.
That's correct. You had your sister and your friend, who sounds like a ring dropped in a sink. Think.
The August 28th, 2019 incident, for which there is no redactions to the body worn
And
camera, but there is a
and
19-page PDF with photos that the defense intends to be included with that submittal, to which the state has no objection. As to the 5th event, 3 photos of the defendant, body worn camera, and a 911 call for which there are no redactions. Does that clarify everything for the state?
Thank you.
Is there anything that I stated incorrectly, Mr. Beck, Mr. Henderson, or Mr. Owens?
No, you are.
Okay, thank you very much. Moving to the next issue with regard to the 119 pages from Winter Park. Defense are you in a position to provide, I believe we discussed it either Friday or I think it was last week, we discussed it as to how it was culled down. Yes, because we had the Richardson hearing on Friday, how that list was culled down and the additional pages that the state was seeking. And then if they were able to find, I believe it was page 68, we would readdress that. Have you provided that finalized exhibit to the defense as to those specific Winter Park health records from the 119 pages that the defense may be seeking to enter into evidence?
We did receive everything from us, and we identified those documents that were not specifically addressed by the defense. The state wanted extension out of the rule of completeness. I believe we're.
But my understanding from Mr. J was that they were looking for the tangible copy of what it is that you were actually looking to move in, those 12, 14, 15 pages. Okay, if you could provide that to them by noon, I would appreciate
I'm
it.
not sure if it's, that's what we're saying.
But if it's going to be moved into evidence, we have the, I mean, is it going to be moved in paper form or is it going to be moved in digital by virtue of a CD?
We can get, we'll work on it.
Okay, perfect. Just get it.
We'll
It doesn't
work
have
on
to be intangible. Just get them what it is that you're, if it's an electronic format, that's fine. Just the state
My
should be entitled
Puma
to
is
know what it
bigger.
is that y'all are intending to move out of those pages just to confirm it. Lastly, with regard to hospital records of the victim, I know there were conversations and discussions about that list being narrowed down. The state has advised that details as to those narrowed down records has not yet been provided. Let's say the defense.
The hospital records for the victim, George Torres.
That's my understanding.
We need to do that, Judge. We have to do that.
Okay. My understanding is that the experts are potentially teed up to testify tomorrow. I don't recall if those records are a basis of the experts' opinions.
The second expert is not likely to testify until Thursday. She's testifying in May County tomorrow. I will be here Thursday. I spoke with Dr. Brandon last night. He will be present tomorrow morning as soon as he gets here from court cases.
Did either Doctors Brandon or Harper rely on those medical records?
So,
Dr. Harper did. It's in her deposition that was taken a couple of weeks ago. I think the question was posed.
Ms. Perez, good morning. If you're here for pretrial, 19 Alpha, Judge Myers is covering.
I wrote everything.
Okay, thank you. You may continue.
Dr. Julie Harper, I know she considered the records of George Torres, and we took Dr. Harper's deposition, I believe, a couple of weeks ago. She was asked on stage about everything that she relied upon, and she did indicate that. Are we going to use or attempt to introduce those records? We'll pare it down if we are.
Okay, you got till 5 p.m. today to advise the state as to what of those culled down records you're going to be utilizing. So they have the opportunity to review those in advance of Dr. Harper testifying.
I apologize to Madam Court Reporter for speaking on top of each other. Dr. Brandon is testifying as a subject matter expert who has specific familiarity with this case. And so there are no medical records or any other records that he has relied upon his knowledge and expertise.
Okay, all right. State, any other issues we need to address with regard to the discovery issues that you brought to the court's attention this morning?
No, sir.
Okay, all right. Moving now to the motion. I have reviewed that motion.
If they don't have their expert lined up, what are they going to fill time with the rest of the day tomorrow? I can't see them calling a ton of witnesses in this case.
No.
Judge, we're not aware of the motion until he made mention of it, so I need some time for the lawyers to review it, for us to discuss it, and to see whether or not it has merit or not.
Okay. It was e-filed last night, looks like 9:37, and then sent courtesy copy to myself through Ms. Barrios and you, Ms. Rowans, at 9:38 last night. I'll give the opportunity to review that. We can address it after the
Open
lunch hour.
time isn't better at
And I'll give the court the
9:38.
opportunity to do any research during the lunch hour on it as well. All right. Anything else, Mr. J? That
I looked at it briefly. I'm not for sure exactly what the allegation is. I don't know if we need to talk about that. So excuse me?
I'm not.
Can we approach the bench?
Sure. Come on up, yo.
Come on, yo. Do we have that motion, Jess?
I don't know, but the thing is that they continue to put things in at like Sunday at 11 p.m. and then act like we've got something at 9. And thank you for being a member for 4 months at the Church of Mo, Vince Clortho. So thank you so much.
And I know I've been grifting hard for Mo this week because I so want to hope we can get her to 4,000 subscribers. But another guy who is way undersubbed and who has way better content than any other of all the people we know is Mr. Fedorowski. It's not court related, it's nature related, and it's wonderfully filmed. It's wonderfully, clipped together, wonderfully fully produced. If you like nature and you want to see a different part of the world, please go take a look at Fedorowski's channel. He has these great videos where he takes trips into the Norwegian countryside and films, and it's a breathtaking nature Norway has. It's amazing, and he has a way of showing it that makes it's. I would say it's old time not Discovery, National Geographic channel like. With a little bit of humor and a little bit of knowledge.
Yes.
Before Discovery went to crab fishing, that kind of production value. That's the production I was looking for. That's the word I couldn't say. But please, Fedorowski, great production, way undersubbed. But if you need some brain relaxation, it's the channel to go through.
Yes. And Hospice Jess needs us to clear
With regard
up.
to that
Do we
motion, we're going
not?
to table that
We
for now.
just
and address it
don't like
potentially this afternoon.
Sweden. We're
State's
okay
advised
with
they're ready to
Norway.
proceed. Mr. J shook his head yes. Defense, are you ready to proceed? Mr. Owens, you ready to proceed, sir?
Yes.
Thank you. All right. Ms. Boone, are you still satisfied with your lawyer's representation of you in this matter?
Absolutely.
Are you still on board with the strategy that they have employed in the use of your defense?
Yes.
All right. Let's go ahead and stand and bring in our.
Norway is Timu Denmark, so we like them. They right now they're having a short period where we don't own them. As soon as we have our next war with Sweden, we'll take them back. make them feel welcome again. Send them. We kind of treated them like you treated some people that you were put in reservations. Send them bad food and fire water. That's why they eat rotten fish. But Norway will be back when they run out of oil. So we like Norway. We don't like Sweden.
Panel.
Yes, can you share Fedorowski's link one more time?
She's getting into her zone. She's praying.
Yeah.
Jury entering.
She can't appeal on insufficient counsel. She have said, I agree with them every day in court.
State, do you recognize our jury?
Yes, Your Honor.
Defense, do you recognize our jury?
Yes.
All right, everyone will be seated. Thank you. Members of our jury, good morning. Welcome back to 12 Alpha at the Orange County Courthouse. Thank you again for your time, your attention, and your sacrifice in this matter. Just by show of hands, if you could confer that you complied with the court's instructions last night. The record will reflect all juror members have raised their hands. All right, State, if you could please recall Detective Kepsel.
State would call Detective Capsule.
Capsule.
Please be affirmed, testimony you give shall be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, so help you God.
Thank you, Cindy Lou Woohood, for being a member for a year. Enjoy watching your affair bloom for Sarah. It's been the love of ages. Some say Romeo and Juliet or Rose and Jack are the best stories ever. But what happened in those stories? That evil bee unalived their boyfriend. That will never happen in me and Sarah's love story. Remember,
She
guys.
would never kick you off the door.
No, and
Pry
she
your
wouldn't
fingers
poison.
off with a crowbar.
And she would never feign, oh, I've been poisoned, so he would unalive himself. It happened to Adam, it'll happen to every man. I'm just saying. Even Shakespeare knew that. And Steven Spielberg.
Ma'am, good morning again. Could you state and spell your name for the record?
Yes. My name is Chelsea Kepsel, Chelsey, Koepsel.
Mr. Castore, you may proceed.
No
Your Honor, we
smacking
intend
today,
to witness
please.
to the defense.
Okay, thank you. Mr. Henderson, you may proceed with any cross-examination.
Straight into cross.
Good morning, ma'am.
Good morning.
Now, it's my understanding that on February 24th of 2020, you responded to this crime scene. Is that correct?
Yes.
Were you the first officer to respond to the crime scene?
No.
So there were other officers who were there prior to you arriving. Is that correct?
Yes.
Were you the first detective to respond to the crime scene?
Myself and my partner, we all arrived at the same time because we left from the same location at the same time.
Okay, and who was your partner then?
Detective Scott Lowen.
And throughout the whole time, you and Detective Lowen worked on this case together. Is that correct?
Yes, he assisted me with this case.
Now, when you arrived on the 24th, approximately how many other officers were there?
Including like deputy sheriffs, like in uniform?
Yes, ma'am.
Yes. Approximately 4, maybe, I would assume.
Had it been designated a crime scene at that time, and had tape or security measures been taken to protect the scene?
Yes, they have.
All right, so that had already been done by the time that you arrived. Is that correct?
Yes, that's correct.
Okay. Now, in the investigation, one of your what you're trying to accomplish in the investigation is basically get a basics of what
You don't have
someone-
resting.
Would you agree with me there?
It is.
Yes, I would.
All right. And you could do that one or two ways, or a combination of ways. One is to take testimony of potential witnesses. Is that correct?
Yes, it is.
All right. On this day, did you in fact do that?
Yes, I did.
And one of those potential witnesses was Sarah Boone. Is that correct?
Yes, it was.
And you took a statement from Sarah Boone because we've all seen it. Is that correct?
Yes, we have.
And at that point in time, Ms. Boone did not have to talk to you if she didn't want to, did she?
No, she did not.
So she agreed to talk to you at that point in time?
Yes, she did.
Okay. Were there any other witnesses besides Ms. Boone that you talked to on this initial day of the 24th?
Just Brian Boone.
And Mr. Boone told you what? You had a chance to talk to him. He told you his involvement. Is that correct?
That's correct.
And in fact, wasn't Mr. Boone's testimony, was that recorded too?
I conducted an audio recording, yes.
Is that standard procedure when you do your interviews to try to record the interviews?
Yes.
What's the benefit of that?
So I know what was said.
Okay. So, and some goes on.
I hate it, Danny T. I can't stand that constant. I'm here to talk to the jury. Yes, we know you are, but it just feels unnatural.
On for a long time.
If you
can refer back
angle
to it. Is that
yourself
correct?
more towards them,
Yes.
you don't have to do the
All
dramatic.
right. So,
like,
and out there, that's part of talking to witnesses or potential witnesses. Okay. Also, it's your job too to identify potential physical evidence in the case.
Yes, it is.
All right. And in fact, on the 24th, did you do that?
Yes, I did.
Okay. Did you have anyone assisting you in doing that aspect of it?
Yes, crime scene investigators and digital forensics investigator.
All right. And was Miss Melissa Rothengarten? That's how it's pronounced. Pronounce it for me.
Rough Garden.
Rothengarten. Okay. Thank you. Did she help you in that area?
She was the lead crime scene investigator, yes.
Okay. So were y'all walking around together? Give the jury an idea of how that process takes place, please.
So yes, when I initially arrived on scene, I introduced myself to Sarah Boone and explained that I wished to go inside her residence, which she gave me consent to go in and look around. I went in, looked around, and then when my CSIs arrived, they would go in, take pictures, and then I kind of leave them to do what they need to do as far as taking pictures and documenting things and measurements. And then that's when I conducted my interviews. And then I would meet back up with my crime scene investigator after interviews were conducted to kind of follow up with like things that I was told that would help us like identify things from the scene. And so, I mean, there's like multiple occasions where I would have met with my crime scene investigator inside the residence.
So this is an ongoing process during that day. You get information, you consult with them, they have information, they consult with you, and you're making a determination of what potential physical evidence that y'all at least like to document by camera or actually collect and take away. Is that correct?
Yes, so it's accurate.
All right. In that case, the suitcase was some evidence that y'all agreed on that we.
I know that she's supposed to talk to the jury, but instead of doing this every time, she has to address the jury and answer the question that the guy in front of her is having. Just do this. Oh, yes, I was the first at the scene. Correct. So you have both of them in your field of view. So you don't do this because it seems unnatural.
It does seem unnatural. I think if you're used to trials, then you kind of understand that this might be standard operating procedure. But if you are new to watching trials, it seems very odd. It seems very almost disjointed and almost kind of breaks the flow.
Hey, Greedy. Yeah, and it feels kind of like when we watched the AH's case, where she's overly dramatically turned her head and looked at the jury.
Need to take this
I was only acting.
from the scene. Is that correct?
Yes, it was.
Okay. How about the baseball bat? Was that done that day?
The baseball bat was collected, yes.
All right. In your viewing of the suitcase, did you view the suitcase while it was unseen?
Yes, I did.
All right. Did you notice that if there was any items, other independent loose items in the suitcase?
There were, yes.
Were those items collected?
Some of them were, yes.
Who made the determination what items of that suitcase would be taken or collected and what would not be collected?
I would say that I have the final say on what is to be collected or not collected, but we do discuss it together to make that determination for me to give the final yes or no.
Do you recall which items you decided to collect from the suitcase?
Do you have the property form that I can refer to?
No, I'll try to find it.
I know some of them, but
Hey, Lynn.
Ma'am, I don't have it, but to the best of your memory, can you tell
Oh. I'm going to impeach you with something, and I don't have it ready because I didn't know I was going to interview you today. I thought maybe it's not my turn. Or what is the explanation why you are not ready to do the interview?
Okay, I have a new theory, and it marries Canton and this. Chloe did not go to a Vermont, farm. She went down to Florida and she started eating all of this defense's paperwork. It makes
Chloe
perfect sense,
ate his
doesn't it?
homework. Genitals, I can't read that, but I agree.
And I would understand there would be some stuff that if you had the property report to refresh your memory, you can give me more detail.
Yes, to my understanding and to my recollection, we collected things that had blood left over on it. I want to say there was like a necktie potentially. I do recall there being a small amount of clothing and miscellaneous paperwork, but I do not think that we collected the paperwork. There was also a cell phone in there. It was not, it was dead, the cell phone.
Yeah.
And then, like I said, there might
That's
be
where Sarah
one,
just
I
puts
collected
ghosting.
5 to 6 items from the suitcase itself, but obviously the property form would tell you specifically. But that is what I recall.
Correct, and I understand, and that's fair. Okay, so potentially you collect these items because you believe they're evidence for the case potentially.
That's not entirely correct. Her time is up, yes, but she is rolled over into only the Karen Reed case. So she's not refusing to step down. It is procedure, as far as we're told. But in Canton, nothing is procedure. But that's what they're claiming. It's procedure that once set on a trial, they will stay on trial. But she will not be the Supreme Justice anymore, which she shouldn't have been. But she already rolled over once, so let's wait and see if the defense team can get her excluded because of all her bias instead.
Actually, is that correct?
Yes.
And some of these items you actually collect with the potential that you might need to have them examined in greater detail. Is that correct?
Yes.
An example of something like that would be in this case, if you found blood on something, you might want to potentially examine that. Is that correct?
Yes.
And also the stuff that you're learning outside of these items also helps you in making that determination. Isn't that correct?
I'm sorry, one more time.
The stuff that you learn, the information that you're getting or you're receiving about what happened at that time will lead you to determine what items might need to be collected and what items might need to be tested.
Correct.
Is that correct?
Yes.
All right. So out of the items that were collected at the house or department, at those items, was anything to your knowledge sent off for further examination?
Yes, it's very, very unusual, but it's not unheard of because it was unheard of when she rolled over the first time. So, but it's very, very unusual. And thank you, Mac, for contributing to Jess's swearjaw. Sarah's getting her money worth with this defense team. Yeah, not paying them is exactly the right amount they earned.
Yeah.
I believe so, but if it was, there would be they would be sent to the Florida Department of Law Enforcement for further testing.
Okay. And do you have an independent memory of what items that were collected from the house that were sent to FDLE for further examination?
I don't recall specifically without looking.
Okay.
Oh, yeah, and Coffee Nut, this is cross-examination.
Are you aware at one point in time, there were some fingernail clippings or fingernail swabs taken from Miss Sarah Boone? Is that correct?
Yes.
And in fact, that was done on her interview date
We talked about this yesterday morning as well. They are trying to raise the reasonable doubt that the police didn't even look for any other explanation than the one that Sarah gave them. Which is stupid because why would they?
Yeah, I mean, but they do have to bring this out there. I mean, even in their disorganized state, they are trying to say, okay, well, what was the point of not testing this? And I guess maybe some juries or jurors might have had that question. So
Yeah.
I'd rather the jurors get their questions answered and the defense bring it out than, any accusations that she doesn't get a fair trial.
And I wish the state will ask exactly that question. So why didn't you send in stuff from upstairs to the, well, because Sarah told us what happened, and we believed her. Boom.
Would have been the 25th.
Yes, sir.
Is that correct?
Yes.
Okay, and that's what we witnessed in the video.
Yes.
That's what they were doing at that time, correct? And I'm sure at the autopsy, which you were present at, is that correct?
Yes.
And those, there would have been some fingertip swabs of George Torres. Or are you familiar with that?
They do swabbing of the hands, to my understanding, and clippings of his nails.
Okay. Do you have an independent memory of the fact that Sarah Boone's fingernail swabs were sent to FDLE for comparison?
I would believe so.
Okay. How about the ones from Mr. Torres? Do you have knowledge that those were sent to FDLE for comparison or identification?
Well, they would have come from him, so I'm not sure what we would have compared him to.
Okay. Were they there to see, or at least they're sent there to see if they can extract DNA?
Oh, okay. Yes. I mean, I'm not sure if they did that testing for his nails clipping specifically, but it would be in the report if so.
Okay. Who would make the decision about sending his finger swabs to FDLE for comparison or evaluation?
I would request it to the crime scene investigator, and she would author the, procedure for them to do so.
Okay. And then as to Sarah Boone's swabbings, who requested that those be sent to FDLE for evaluation?
Again, I would assume that I would have done that. I would have requested the CSI to do that.
Are you aware of the results from those evaluations? I'm not asking you for the results, just if you're aware of the results.
I believe I'm aware, but would love to see a report before I specifically answer.
Yes, I'm not going to ask you a specific question. Okay.
Then why ask her at all?
But basically, you're aware that it was done, the procedure was done.
Yes.
The analysis was done. Okay. Now, ma'am, so you're through the first day.
That's not nice, Pascal. Mo doesn't look at
Oh.
over 50.
I do feel very much, though, like Cher, so not gonna lie, but I'm attempting to pretend to be detective with the good hair. But she decided to add dimension and highlights into her dark chocolate hair. Traitor.
We will be filing complaints. Marissa,
We
get right
will.
on it.
We will.
Then we get to the second date, which would have been, I believe, the 25th of February. Is that correct?
Yes.
And on the 25th of February, was Mr. Torres' autopsy done at that time?
Yes, it was.
Were you present during the autopsy?
Yes, I was.
And did you communicate with the medical examiner at that time?
Yes, I did.
During the course of things, is that where you found out through the medical examiner at the autopsy that there was blunt force trauma injuries?
Yes, that is where I learned more about his injuries.
Now, initially, when you were on the scene on the 24th, did you view Mr. Torres' body?
Yes, I did.
Did you notice in and of yourself on your own something that caused you concern that there might be blunt force trauma injuries?
Yes, I noticed injuries to him, yes.
Okay, so after the autopsy, you had additional information, is that correct?
Yes, I did.
Okay. Now, there was an interview, well, I don't know if it was an interview, there was a meeting set up for Sarah Boone, is that correct?
Yes.
On the 25th, is that correct?
Yes.
Can you tell me how that meeting was arranged or how that meeting was set up?
So either before I left the scene, the night of the incident, I obviously met with Sarah and told her that we were leaving. We had to go make next of kin notification, and I would have either at that time said I would like to meet tomorrow, and arranged it then, at least to like let her know that I would like to meet after the autopsy. And then obviously from watching the video towards the end, she said something about like recalling a conversation that we had, like calling me. So there may have been a phone conversation that occurred later that evening, where I either would have confirmed the time or told her the time then. I just don't have that like on an audio. But I know it either took place before I left the scene, because I obviously would have, said my goodbyes and told her, hey, we're leaving. We're going to make next of kin notification. She was very concerned about that. So I would want her to know that we were doing that. So it either took place then or it took place on that phone conversation that we had.
Okay. All right. The day prior to that, on the 24th.
Well, nothing, because she crawled into that boat. She sailed on that boat. She agreed with that boat. She will sink with that boat.
Ma'am, you received Sarah Boone's phone, is that correct?
Yes, her phone was on the scene, yes.
And when you received that phone, Sarah Boone had given you that phone, is that correct?
No, she was not allowed in the apartment to give me the phone.
I'm sorry, did she give you permission to take the phone?
Yes.
Okay, is that correct?
Yes, I was given permission to go through her phone, yes.
Because at that time, you hadn't applied for any type of search warrant to get or search the phone, is that correct?
No, it was based off of consent.
Okay, so she had consented to you for you to have her phone?
Yes.
Is that correct? She also provided you the code to get in the phone, is that correct?
Yes.
She is a saint.
So at this point in time, Ms. Boone is cooperating with you, isn't that correct?
Yes.
Now, ma'am, do you recall telling her, Ms. Boone, that she could get her phone back the next day?
I don't recall specifically telling her when she would be able to get her phone back, but I did say something along the lines of we were now going to be taking the phone. I obviously had digital come out for consent to go through her phone. There was evidence on her phone that I needed to be downloaded. And at the time, I was willing to give back her phone before going through it. And then once we had gone through it, and those videos were found, I felt like this was very different, and it changed my perspective on consent. And I decided at that time that it was best to write a search warrant. So consent couldn't be basically like I knew I was going to take her phone. So consent has to be basically given to me throughout the entire period. So she would have had no way to contact me to tell me she no longer consented. So therefore, because there was evidence on the phone, I took the phone. Basically, I potentially told her, maybe we didn't get a full download. I may have said something along the lines of that. As far as me taking the phone, and then I wrote a search warrant. I either started writing the search warrant the night of, but it wasn't signed until I didn't submit it until the next day. And then it was signed the next day on the 25th.
So basically what you're telling us is that she could have withdrawn her consent at any time prior to that search warrant being received. Is that correct?
Well, while I was on scene, but at the end of the day, there was evidence on the phone. So I knew I could get a search warrant to go through the phone based off there being evidence. Like the 911 calls, and her explaining to me that they had spoken to family members.
Please silence your cell phones.
Since they had explained to me that they spoke with family members the night prior. So I wanted to obviously corroborate her statement. So I knew that I would be able to get into the phone through a search warrant. But yeah, she could have not consented, and she could have not signed the paper consenting while we were on scene.
But before you left scene, you knew that Sarah Boone was not going to get that phone back. Is that correct?
Yes, that is correct.
Okay. So when
You
Sarah Boone,
lied to Sarah.
the next day,
You
asking you about bringing her phone
Can't
back,
handle the truth.
did you just tell her, Ms. Boone, you're not getting your phone back?
There was not a conversation about her not getting her phone back. She may have inquired about her phone, and I would have explained that we will talk about it when we meet that afternoon.
Okay. So, did you reach out to Ms. Boone that next day, or did Ms. Boone reach out to you?
I don't recall a specific if she reached out to me the night of the 24th or before the interview on the 25th. I don't have my call records for that. I'm just basing it off of the interview where she had basically said that, yeah, I have your business card and I can contact you like I did. So my assumption would be that we did have some sort of conversation either the night of the 24th or before the interview on the 25th.
On the 20th, did you make arrangements with Sarah Boone to meet with her on the 25th?
So I either made arrangements on the 24th with her before leaving the scene, and I would have told her I would like to meet with you the next day, or I said, and I may have given her a specific time at that moment, or when we spoke later that evening on the phone, I may have confirmed the time or given her a time then. But she definitely knew that we were meeting at 3 p.m. on the 25th at Orange County Sheriff's Office Central Operations.
And ma'am, you just don't remember at what point in time you informed her to set up this meeting with her. Is that correct?
It's
Set
one
up
or
five
the other.
times.
That
The other?
yes.
Okay. As it to it being one or the other, you did you prepared the investigative report in this case, is that correct?
Yes, I did.
And the investigative report, you basically summarized everything that took place on this case, up to a certain point.
Yes,
Is that correct?
it was a summary. Yes.
All right, as far as evidence, as far as witnesses who were talked to and synopsis of what they said to you at that time, is that correct?
Yes, things that I did specifically. It was a summary of that.
I found your investigative report to be in great detail because it helped me track this case from basically beginning to not to the end, but to the point where the report stops. And it seems like in your investigative report, you are very thorough about details. Is that correct?
I would say I'm a detailed person. Yes, thank you.
Okay. So being the detailed person you are, and absolutely doing your law enforcement training, they tell you, they train you that your report should be very much in detail. Is that correct?
Yes.
Okay? Because you might have to refer back to them at a later time. Is that one of the reasons? Is that correct?
Yes, I'm to prepare myself for depositions and trials.
Okay. And just to give an accurate picture of what you did and what took place and what people told you. Is that correct?
Yes.
Okay. Being as thorough as you are with these contacts with people, I didn't see in the investigative report when the arrangement was made with Sarah Boone to meet you down, and where did y'all meet?
The Orange County Sheriff's Office Central Operations.
All right. To meet you at the
Waffle
Orange
House.
County Sheriff's Office. I did not see that in the report. Do you have an explanation why?
It's not typically something I would put in my report.
Okay. Do you remember in having the conversation with Ms. Boone about this meeting that was supposed to take place, that you said that you could not return the phone to her that day because you were not feeling very good? You remember telling her that?
You did this trick on the pretrial hearing day, and she said, no, I can't remember that. So now you're trying to do it again in front of the jury to again have her say, nah. And again, it's legal to lie to a defendant.
Well, not only that, but she's very detailed in everything. Again,
Yeah.
you are relying on Sarah being a like freaking, reliable narrator. And I'm sure the jury isn't going to be like, they lied to Sarah to get her in. Innocent.
Yeah, and again, it's perfectly okay for an investigator to say, hey, can you swing by? I have a tummy ache. Can you meet me at the station?
And they went out of their way to, Sarah made a big deal about, hey, don't do this in front of Lucas. Don't do this in front of Lucas. So they, cooked up a thing so Lucas would not be involved. But then it's a trick. All right. Okay.
That never happened.
Ma'am.
Get some rum.
Yes, of course.
That deserves the hat.
Yeah. And I'm your man.
My head's too big with the wig on. Dingus gets the hat.
Yeah, once.
Ma'am, during this time frame, were you pregnant at that time?
Yes, I was.
Okay. All right.
Hey, everyone knows you can't trust a pregnant woman. It's the hormones. Use that argument.
Well, anyway, Ms. Boone, there was a meeting arranged. Is that correct?
For the 25th at 3 p.m., yes.
Yes, and Ms. Boone showed up for that meeting.
She did.
25th.
Yes.
We saw. Okay. Now, ma'am, I'd like to talk to you about some other investigation. On other witnesses that you took their testimony or statements, recorded statements at different times. Okay. Do you remember Abraham Marino?
Yes.
Okay. Did you take his recorded statement?
Yes, it is.
All right. At the time that you took Mr. Marino's recorded statement, was there anyone else with you?
My partner should have been with me, Detective Scott Lowen.
Excuse me?
My partner should have been with me, Detective Scott Lowen.
Okay. Ma'am, as to who was with you, would it help refresh your memory if you were to see your investigative report as to that interview?
Your Honor, I would object. She hasn't said that she needs any aid in refreshing her memory.
Objection sustained.
Ma'am, was Detective Scott Lowen with you during that interview?
Yes, I believe so.
May we approach?
Yes.
So is she going to try and impeach her with something he said? You can't do that.
Or we came up with you for cereal had a conversation and you lied. That's what
Yeah.
Ma'am, do you have an independent memory of Detective Scott Lowen being with you at that interview?
I believe my partner was with me on the interview. Yes, I typically wouldn't go and do some follow-up without my partner being with me.
Thank you very much. Now, ma'am, what date did that interview take place on?
I believe the 26th, February 26th of 2020.
Okay, thank you. Ma'am, was that interview recorded?
It was audio recorded.
Was the entire interview audio recorded?
Yes, the entire interview was audio recorded.
Ma'am, are you familiar with a witness by the name of Brandon Moats?
Yes, I am.
On February the 27th of 2020, did you interview Brandon Moats?
I believe so. It was either the 26th or 27th, yes.
If you were to see your investigative report, would that help refresh your memory?
All right, I would again object. She hasn't indicated that she needs assistance with her memory.
Approach.
She's sitting up there thinking, oh, I've been on this case for almost 5 years. I was listening to Sarah, and
Objection sustained.
this is what they're trying to get me with. Come on now. At least those 4 kilos of Colombian clove.
Ma'am, if it was the 27th, you would not disagree with that, would you?
Well, I just stated that it was either the 26th or 27th.
Okay, thank you. Ma'am, Mr. Moats, he was the neighbor living in the apartment, or the connecting apartment, wall apartment, with Ms. Boone and Mr. Torres. Is that
Again, it's nice that you want to imply something, but your sentences are roundabouts. Miss Moats
Yeah.
was the neighbor living next wall, adjoined wall neighbor. Just say he's a neighbor, right? He's
They
the guy
share
who
a
testified.
wall.
Yeah.
And honest to goodness, this gotcha question, we're like, oh, you take detailed reports. And she's like, Yes. And he said, "Are you sure you take really detailed reports?" Yes. Well, this thing that Sarah had done told us about is not in your notes. It didn't happen. The lawyer was like, "Oh crap. I have no comeback."
Yeah, well, let's move on then to something else I don't know anything about. But as someone said, yeah, the state is really showing we are prepared, and so is our witness.
Correct?
Yes.
And he's the one who told you about the loud noise. Is that correct?
Yes.
Okay. Did you interview anyone else in reference to that loud noise?
So I was interviewing Brandon, and then my partner was interviewing Vincent, the other witness, and I came in at the end of the interview with Detective Lowen.
Okay, so that's Vincent. Do you know his last name?
I would butcher it.
Me too, but tag with him. Something like that. We're talking about the same person?
Yes, sir.
Okay. And did that interview take place on February the 27th of 2020?
I believe so. I interviewed witnesses after I interviewed Sarah. The 26th or 27th would be my memory.
Okay, thank you. And then, did he also talk to you about a loud noise?
I believe that I was refreshed on the conversation, and yes, he expressed hearing a loud noise as well.
Okay, thank you. Now, and those interviews were actually audio recorded too, is that correct?
Yes, they were.
Now let's go to
Like really sure.
Ms. Boone's,
Are you super
Interview.
serial?
and that would have took place on the 25th, is that correct?
Yes.
Okay. And Ms. Boone came down.
She's got. I'm gonna be called a misogynist again. She's got a cat. Just got a bowl full of cream, smug face on right now. Just thinking, oh my God, do you hear yourself? Is this the best you got, Sarah? Is that the guy you got?
She is trying to contain the level of, because she's like, look, I have my, calm demeanor to contain, but these are the questions I've waited 4 years to be asked. Okay.
It's
Okay.
she's just, and you can see she's almost about to crack a smile, and she's sitting there curling her toes, saying, "You can't do it. Understand? You can't say, are you stupid?" She's she can probably be quite a B word in her outside of court life. And she just wants to say, come on now. Are you for reals?
She just wants to look at the jury and say, you saw the video, right? I mean, why are we
Yeah.
here? Well, let's go home. We'll go to IHOP. Let's get this done.
Of course, Russian bot is straight with the OF. I like that you can just see her contempt and her, oh my God, while she's trying to seem very professional.
And ma'am, prior to Ms. Boone coming down for the interview, had y'all made the decision that Ms. Boone was going to be arrested?
Yes, I plan to arrest Sarah Boone.
Okay.
Entrapment.
No, I'm not being mean to the detective. I'm saying I'm loving that she can't. She's trying so hard to hide it. But there's no denying, you think you can just feel the contempt in that smile. I think she's
just
wonderful.
Like, really? This was
Yeah.
your A for effort, lawyer? Yeah, she
This is-
definitely has bless your heart. Like,
This is every wife
try.
ever looking at her husband, telling her, and I was playing Farm Simulator, and I got a new combine harvester. Did you fix that thing in the kitchen I asked you? Well, I'm going to do it tomorrow, honey. I just got swept up in the game. It's so amazing. Don't you think? Yeah.
or the face I make whenever Mr. Mo is like, I show him something on IKEA and he's like, I could make that. And I'm like, yeah, 8 years later, like the SpongeBob thing. Yeah, you could totally make that, but you just need 8 more tools. So can we just get it from IKEA? No, I can make it better.
Yeah. And you put on the every woman, every wife in history. Sure, honey, you can. Until you get it, I'll just get a filler from IKEA, and then you make it way better. Then we can sell it on Marketplace later. Thank you.
Did you tell Ms. Boone in arranging the meeting that when she came down there, she was going to be arrested?
Your Honor, I'm going to object this for relevance.
Approach.
Did
They
you
don't
tell
have to
Sarah
tell her.
she was a felon when she?
Yeah.
No.
Did you say you better go on the run because if you come down here, we will arrest you? Or did you think it's probably smart for us to get you in the police building, get you to talk, and then arrest you? Yeah, it's a little underhanded, but she was given her rights multiple times.
Yeah, not to mention, again, maybe she had a perfect explanation and she would have been able to explain this, but all they got from her was unintentional. So it would still have been reckless homicide, but maybe she could have said it was an accident. Look, I know you guys did that. I did not mean to go upstairs. I know I sound hateful. We've had all this stuff, but I really didn't intend for this to happen.
The thing about being pregnant is because Sarah alleges that they said they needed her to come to the station the day after because this lady was pregnant, so she couldn't bring her phone. And this lady said, no, didn't happen.
So, ma'am, at that time, you did not tell Ms. Boone prior to coming down there that she was going to be arrested. Is that correct?
No, I did not.
Okay. Why did you not tell Ms. Boone that she was going to be arrested?
We plan to meet at 3 p.m. and go over the autopsy and have another interview. So, I mean, I'm not sure why I would tell her that she's going to be arrested. That would potentially cause her to flee, not come. And then we have to go find her and make it more difficult for everyone.
Or potentially get an attorney to come with her?
She was read her rights that said that she has a right to an attorney. And if one cannot be provided for her, she will be appointed one.
I understand that. You read those rights when she got there. Is that correct?
Yes, I did.
You didn't read those rights to her before she got there, though, did she?
She was read those rights the day before in the car. It's on the audio tape. And you don't have to say, can you show up tomorrow at the police station? Just so we already got this cleared. You have the right to an attorney. You have a right to... That's not how you do it. And you know this. This is a stupido argumento.
Yeah, it's...
Yeah,
This
and
has
why
to
make
be-
it? Why make her a flight risk? It's so stupid.
Yeah, first of all, you're not going to make her a flight risk. Second of all, they are going out of their way to, again, trying to keep the innocent child in this from dealing with more crap that Sarah Boone has caused in his life. I was expecting them to drill deep into, a lot of other things. This is not raising reasonable doubt for me.
No.
The jury is going to say, yeah, you read her those rights. I heard you read them in the audio in the car, and I saw you read them.
I bet you the jury is thinking, who's making toast?
And thank you, Vince Clorpo, for the gifted membership, and that went to Kathy Mitchell or Michael.
Yoo-hoo!
So thank you.
Wasn't in contact with her, physical contact with her.
Okay. So, but you said potentially for fleeing. My question was, potentially she could have got an attorney too to come with her. Is that not correct?
I misunderstood your question. I didn't hear potentially bring an attorney with her, but yes, I guess she potentially brought an attorney with her.
Objection, speculation.
So Ms. Boone shows up and you tell her that some things that we need to talk about. Is that correct?
It's specific verbiage. I know I said something along the lines of, obviously the autopsy had been conducted, and there were things that we needed to talk about in regards to that.
And prior Okay, but prior to discussing it with her and asking her questions, you did read her Miranda warnings, is that correct?
Prior to, I'm sorry, one more time?
Before you started asking her questions, though, in this interview, before you started asking Ms. Boone's questions, you read her Miranda warnings, is that correct?
Yes, before I started asking any sort of potentially incriminating questions, she was read her Miranda warnings, yes.
Okay.
No, they tried that in a pre-trial hearing, stating that they read her Miranda's incorrectly because they didn't ask, do you understand those rights as I have read them to you, I think is what it says. But they ask, do you understand what I just read to you? Which is the same, and the judge ruled, it's BS, you're not going to throw it out. Because they read her the rights you have. Asking her if you understand these rights isn't a right you have. This has been ruled on multiple times. Everything was Gucci, as the kids say.
Ma'am, do you remember, as part of the Miranda warnings that you read to Ms. Boone, did you read her the one that states that if you decide to answer questions but want to stop answering and consult with an attorney, you may do so? Do you independently remember reading Ms. Boone that instruction?
That's not an instruction.
I don't recall that specific, but I do have my Miranda card on me, but I don't recall that that's what that says. But it is.
I'm pretty sure it doesn't say anywhere in the Miranda rights, if you want to stop at any time and call an attorney, you are told that you can get an attorney if you want to.
Yes. In fact,
on
you say
audio.
I want an attorney. The interview is supposed to end right there, regardless of
Yeah.
where you are.
Yeah.
So you can always reassert that right. But I mean, they're trying to get to freaking question 9 that wasn't on there or whatever. And I'm so done with this defense.
Yeah.
Video recording.
Okay, thank you.
You're welcome.
I love that she says, you're welcome.
Now, ma'am, at that point in time, Ms. Boone wasn't under arrest. Is that correct?
Ms. Boone was not going to be free to leave once she was in my
She
custody.
was being detained.
At that point in time, had you told Ms. Boone that she was not free to leave?
No.
No, I did not.
At that point in time, had you told Ms. Boone that she was under arrest?
I told her at the end of the interview.
Okay, before the interview.
No, I did not tell her before the interview.
Ma'am, why didn't you tell her before the interview?
Your Honor, I'm going to object as to asked and answered.
Overruled.
So I have to read her Miranda warnings, and that's what I did. I do not have to tell her that she's under arrest at that time.
Was there a reason? Could you have told her that she was under arrest?
Because she knew she was a flappermouth and she wanted her to flap and incriminate herself, you pillock. And she's not going to give you that. She's not going to say, well, I was clearly laying a trap for her that she walked straight in because she's too stupid. No, she's going to keep saying, I read her rights as I'm supposed to. I don't have to warn her. Any reasonable person in that room would feel they were not free to leave. Which is according to the Florida Supreme Court, and I can't remember which, is it Garcia or whatever it is. We had this in a pretrial motion.
Yes.
Before reading her Miranda warning.
Your Honor, I'm going to object as it calls for speculation.
Sustained.
You get
Ma'am,
those
was it a
objectors in
strategic
there.
decision not to tell Ms. Boone that she was under arrest prior to reading her those Miranda warnings?
Your Honor, I'm going to object as to relevance.
Approach.
It was a strategic decision because she knew she would incriminate herself. But there's no law that the police should not let you incriminate yourself. They just have to warn you that you potentially can incriminate yourself. Oh. Wasn't she using an old version of the Miranda warning card? Yes, but it doesn't matter. The four pins in the Miranda is what matters. You can put all the flowery words you want around the Miranda warning, but you just have to inform them that you have the right to attorney. Everything you say can and will be used against you in a court of law. If you can't afford an attorney would be appointed to you. And I can't remember the last thing. But it doesn't matter what's in the what you're saying, as long as you say the 4 or 5 things in a Miranda. So, and we had a pretrial motion hearing about that. It doesn't matter that she didn't say, do you understand these rights as I have read them to you?
I like that pointer.
Well, but it's only inviting issues from stupid lawyers, because they'll get an objection and it'll be sustained, and then they will stand with egg on their face with another objection sustained against them. Stay away from these questions, because you don't want an objection sustained against you in the eyes of the juror, in my opinion.
Ma'am, and we were able to see the video of the interview. As a process of interviewing people, such as Ms. Boone, well, let me specifically. In the process of interviewing Ms. Boone, is law enforcement free to give information that might not be accurate or true during the interview process?
Are you asking if we're allowed to lie to her?
Yes.
Yes, to an extent.
Thank you, Mac, for second contribution for number squared, yeah. Number squared, yeah.
Was that done at any time in this interview?
Did I lie to her? I don't recall lying to her, no.
I confer, Judge.
Yes.
Thank you, ma'am. I have no further questions.
A redirect examination.
No, Your Honor.
Can this witness be released? State.
We have her subject to recall.
Okay.
Subject to recall.
I have your release subject to recall. Thank you.
Great, thank you.
State, any other witnesses, evidence, or testimony to be produced?
Throughout this, I'm taking rest.
Okay. Members of the jury, it is 10:22 a.m. I have some matters with counsel that I need to address. So we're going to excuse you for a short while. It's a great opportunity for us to take our morning break as well. Similar instruction that I've given to you over the last couple of days. Please do not discuss this case amongst yourselves or anyone else. And do not conduct any independent research or investigation as the person, places, things, or charge involved in this case. We'll bring you back in as promptly as possible. Thank you.
Jury exiting.
I really do not like the 3-piece suits on these guys.
No.
Don't be seated. Thank you.
Especially when he has
Yes. Any motions?
We have some motions, but my client needs a comfort break.
Okay.
If we could do that, because it may be fairly lengthy.
Agreed. Let's go ahead and take
When
that
the
break. Court's going to be in recess for 10 minutes,
Yeah.
and then we'll pick up any motion practice.
Well, we're caught up. Now we will have the, hey, judge, clearly they didn't provide any evidence. Please let my client go. Denied. And then, my, oh my, it is Sarah on the stand. My, oh my, is she gonna lose her mind?
Probably not during her narrative. I see her being very calm, very able to hold the mask up during the narrative. But I think once we get to sort of the questioning, the logic, you know, what was the point?
Yeah.
I think we're going to see things go off the rails.
Well,
And
we're
I
kind of
think-
betting on that. And
Well, yeah.
I had a poll running because Brandon asked a very important question an hour ago. Should he get a black or a white phone? I can't help you, as unlike Jamie, I don't see color. But the chat with 170 votes says you should get a black phone. I've heard they're slightly bigger. 30% is like me, we don't see color. And 18% is saying white. So, Brandon, black phone, it is, my friend.
Okay, but what kind of case are we getting? Are we getting an OtterBox with a holster? Because I think you need. Remember the early or the late aughts where everyone, or the late 90s, early aughts where everyone had the OtterBox holster, all the dads. It was like, whoosh,
Yeah,
got
when
my
you took
cell
it up
phone.
and you flipped it. Yellow. I don't know. I see some of those commercials on, well, not so much anymore. Some company who always threw their phones off a building and it can survive anything. No, it can't, because even though it cushions and doesn't break the screen, the phone is very delicate. And I'm pretty sure if you toss it out of a building onto concrete, you'll rattle the internals. It's not the Alex Murdoch case where you can just throw a phone around in an office and prove your theory without taking notes, or riding along in the street in Kenton and it'll go up and down stairs. But yeah, I drop your phone on the hay 5 times a day. I have to have another box. I normally had one of those flips to go over because I hated having my screen. I always crack my screen because I dropped my phone when I used to live a place where I had a stone floor. But then because I wanted to use it to make shots in Dollywood, and when I was in the US, I had took the flip off and just got a plastic case. I'm loving that. It's half the size now that it was before. The old school Nokia phone. Oh, my brother still has the executive. You had the 3210 or whatever the name was, and then you had the executive, which was 3610 or something like that with gold. And I think it's not 10 years since he got a smartphone. He hung out with that. When his company forced him to get a smartphone, he had that, but his daily driver was still his own Nokia. Oh, I have a diagnostic report from Apple confirming the screen is in fact doing the banning on its own. So it's Mark Zuck. No, who's running Apple these days? It's not the weirdo in the turtleneck anymore. But they are hating on my chat. I'm going to sue. Yes, please. If one of you can be the next one to get Mo a subscription, she is only.
I have to look. I'm so terrible at being a YouTuber. I am 3 away. You guys, this is awesome sauce. My kids will think I'm awesome.
If you
ish.
You 3 still haven't subbed to Mo, let's get her to 4,000. Let's get her to 4,005, just so YouTube have a few they can rattle away. You people have been more than awesome. Mo and I have been dual streaming this for just about a week, and we have gotten her, I believe, 60 subscribers this week. So let's get her the last 4 subscribers so we can get her past 4,000. Come on, guys. We can do this. The Grift King strikes again. Get her up there.
Yeah. Or I'll have to go and fish out my old BlackBerry.
Thank you, Crispy Bacon, for subscribing to Mo.
Thank you.
Flip phones are kind of back. Yeah.
I will say that I thought the defense was going to come out blazing for Detective Copsel, and really kind of, I don't know if it was a lack of, planning or having things together. I really was looking forward to them, bringing some heat, because it seemed like they really did that for the hearing, and then they didn't. And I was kind of shocked. I thought they were going to be quite, very aggressive, and they weren't. And thank you, Hey Joe, for the $4.99 super chat. And thank you, MLS, and Farrell for subbing. I think I probably mixed up your name, but thanks. I was hoping someone else would have better hooked on phonics skills than me.
The sweet doggo. Thank you so much for subscribing to Mo. You had your mom subscribe to Mo's channel. First, you say Mo looks like she's in her 70s.
I love the 70s. I'm okay being Cher or Morticia. I am cool with it.
Isn't Cher in her 80s?
Yeah, but she looks like she's in her 40s
Yeah,
sometimes.
plastic don't crack.
I'm okay with it. Look, I would be Cher in a heartbeat. Bob Mackie outfits everywhere, rhinestone to within an inch of their lives. I am here for it.
Like a rhinestone cowboy. I should get a hat of truth like yours for my
You should.
visit on the Halloween stream on Friday Night Live on the Experts channel. We will have our Halloween dress-up party. Last year, I was dressed up like Jamie. I have not regretted anything that much since my marriage.
Those lashes were beautiful. And you could see a little bit after a year or so.
No, and the reason why I think they didn't really try, because they couldn't rattle her. They tried a few dicks at her, and she was just smiling at her like, yeah, I'm married. I've heard that before. And this guy, none of them are prepared. And the state, they did what they should. They hit them with the right objections, out of the rhythm. It's good. It's good. I know a lot of people are saying that the state is weak, is not doing enough. I think they are like just saying they have her on tape. They have her on audio. They don't need to do the lally. I'm gonna hammer you with 200 days of absolutely no relevance. They have her. I said it from the beginning. Play the 3 videos and say, "State rest, Your Honor."
Yeah. You don't need more. You don't need to complicate it. You don't need to add, miscellaneous witnesses. You can just completely be, these are what we have for you. She filmed it.
Do I have a picture of my ex?
No, I think a picture of you dressed up as Jamie.
No.
Oh,
I don't
maybe
take pictures. People screenshot me. I don't take pictures. I hate taking pictures. Oh, cool. Yeah, age is just a number, and as long as we are having fun and living our life, who cares? We are just joking that Mo, no, I'm joking. And we don't.
Oh, yeah.
If you want to know something about Mo and I, other than we are very good at Cantonese, we often spend time talking in Cantonese to each other. We don't use it on channel because I don't know why.
Cultural appropriation.
Yeah, cultural appropriation. I've been called a racist for not using an Asian accent, but other than that, we have thick skin. We love to make fun of each other. Subtle humor, little small. It's not evil. It's not mean. It's just we make fun.
I wear wigs on the internet. I'm a deeply unserious person. I'm okay with that. I mean, who else would buy a red satiny shirt for no reason other than to wear it for a trial?
Well, I have nothing but awkward flexes.
Speaking of awkward flexes, we get Sarah Boone on the stand. There's going to be a whole hell of a lot of awkwardness. I hope she brings in her little girl voice.
I'm hoping that she's going to do the narrative, looking at the juror constantly with her little smug side eye saying, I did so much for Jorge. Her PO, his PO officer asked me to go down on her. And I'm such a great person. Everyone loves me. And Jorge, I saved his life. Thank you, Sea Girl.
Thank you, Secret.
5
You're trying
memberships.
not to snort diet pop up my nose because I didn't expect you to say those combination of words.
That's what I heard when she was talking about the PO officer yesterday. I heard her. I had a long 42-minute conversation with his PO officer. She asked me to go down on her. And I thought, what? Maybe I was sleep hallucinating because I was a little bit feverish, but I heard it.
And those went to KPM, Lapsalumam, Paula Nichols, Sue Mo, and Love Pugs 52. So congratulations. Welcome to the Church of Mo. We have dark chocolate, dark humor, no recorders. Those plastic audio recorder, no. We just don't do those. But anything else pretty much goes.
And did you tag me in it, Ralphie? It's easier for me to find stuff if you're tagging me. Nope. Can't find it. Gregory Benway, yes, you missed that that they were doing cross-examination of Detective Goodhair, and they tried to catch her in some things, but it didn't work. Let's just say that. It was really, really bad. Oh, and it's my Halloween getup from last year. I'm strangely aroused right now.
You know, me too. I like it, Baker. I say we bring it back into rotation. You just need to add a ponytail. I will tell you which wigs to go to. They have, we will get that taken care of.
The truth is, Jamie, when she turned on that stream, she was sitting there thinking, am I so drunk I'm on stream while watching stream? Sadly, Jamie has a slight alcohol problem, but we claim she's working with the SEALs just to keep it on the wraps that she's. Don't tell Renee, but she's not home and you're eating the seagull poops. Well, are they good? Do you like the seagull poops? It's a caramel with licorice flavor. I like those. That's the only. I normally don't eat hard candy.
I was like, wait a minute, wait. Seagull poop? But then I remembered your candy is always named after like rat droppings, hepatitis C, you know, whatever you've got around.
Unexpectedly excited. Oh, he got a new henchman. It was a
We're back on the
wonderful
record,
show.
2020 CF 2603, State of Florida versus Sarah Boone. Appearances for the state.
Yeah, sure, on behalf of the state. William J. for the state.
Defense.
James Owens for Ms. Boone. Tony Henderson.
Tony Henderson for Sarah Boone.
Do we have any
Well, no, I'm not going to go there.
motions? You may proceed.
Life is like a box of chocolates. You never know what you're going to get.
Yeah, this time the defense would move for a judgment acquittal. I'm going to start with just a real quick couple of comments, Your Honor. We know that JOA motions have become essentially pro forma, which may be why I've been assigned this responsibility today. But in this instance, I want to make an argument that I think has some merit. I've been paying close attention to the testimony in this case, and I want to point a couple things out. First of all, we know that the court has essentially assumed the role and is assigned the role of becoming a gatekeeper.
No, this one. These are the hard candy she's eating. This will be given away in my next giveaway stream again. But seagull droppings.
Let's see what they're going to argue about the J, or the, you know, basically the judgment. I want to hear what the defense thinks. And I was kind of wondering what aggressive McMad Pants was doing over there. But let's see.
It's going to be very interesting and probably not very good.
In this matter. we know from the testimony that's been presented in this matter that not only did law enforcement, but also the Office of the State Attorney had knowledge
She's
of
like
these parties
Texas. Thank you so
prior
much for
to
becoming a
the
member.
event having occurred. And despite that, the state has proceeded with this prosecution based upon criminal information as opposed to having taken it to the grand jury. That kind of places the court in a special position to evaluate the nature of the evidence that's been presented. I want to focus on the second-degree murder allegation. And one thing that occurred to me while watching the evidence as it was presented, watching the videos, particularly the interrogation, was part of the dialogue between Ms. Boone as well as Detective Scott Lowen at the end of the interrogation. And I'm going to paraphrase. I apologize. I should have written this down verbatim. I did not. But she's advised that she is being placed under arrest. And her response is, "Why are you doing this?" The detective's response to Ms. Boone is, "Because George is dead."
I'm sorry.
Because George is dead. That's not enough. It's not enough to support a second-degree murder, prosecution, conviction, or should it even be enough to allow this matter to go to the jury? Now,
So she should go free because they arrested her after showing her the videos where she's clearly making fun of him dying in front of her. After multiple times said, "You killed him, you did this." And she said it's not intentional because they only said, "You're under arrest because George is dead." She's free to
Well,
go.
not to mention that, but this is the same attorney or attorney dream team that claimed that wanted the police's, assumptions of guilt and things like that, since they are not legal attorneys. Well, yeah, they didn't break down, exactly why she was charged and what elements were going to be proved, because that's not their job. Doesn't the DA bring charges, and the police can recommend things, but the DA looks at all the evidence and sees what they can charge. So the fact that they said that because George is dead was not the, impetus of this case. I mean, yes, it was, but that's not all they went on. They didn't go on, what the cops said. They went on, the DA looks at all the evidence and he's the one that assigns charges.
Yeah. It's they are the investigative Jamie branch, and the other one is the one who determines what to do with the charges. It's so stupid.
there are three elements of the second-degree murder information. The first is that the victim is dead, that Mr. Torres is dead. We stipulated to his identity. There has been no argument to the fact or the idea that he died in this incident. However, the state also has to show that it was caused by a criminal act and that the act was imminently dangerous and demonstrated a depraved mind. Now, the fact that it was imminently dangerous, I think, is belied by the fact that Jorge Torres voluntarily entered the suitcase, albeit under the influence of alcohol. But the perception of dangerousness that's attributable to the victim, apparently he did not perceive it to be a dangerous or an imminently dangerous situation in having entered the suitcase, possibly because of the influence of alcohol on his capacity to make decisions, should necessarily be attributed to the defendant as well. But I also want to focus on the depravity issue, which the state must prove, and pursuant to the jury instruction in this matter, depravity is equivocated, is made the equivalent of ill will, hatred, spite, or evil intent. And that's not enough. Not only does the state have to show depravity, but it has to show, because it's in the conjunctive, that the act demonstrates an indifference to human life. The state has presented testimony and argument in this.
I know he can't do this. He should just rule out and say, hey, when she didn't react when he said, "I can't breathe," hasta la taco. we're going further with this.
Matter, not
Yeah.
argument, but testimony that in fact George Torres was suffering. Suffering does not equal hatred. It does not equal ill will. And even if they were to establish negligence, that's not homicidal. We know that suffering is something that the courts have been very, very cognizant of and very sensitive to. We know it from the field of capital punishment and incarceration. The idea that somebody suffers is not in and of itself homicidal, nor should it support the idea that there was indifference to the life of George Torres by Sarah Boone. Was she angry? I think there's clear evidence that she was angry. But that's not hatred. And that's the element that has to be proven here. And I don't think that there is a prima facie case that in fact she demonstrated hatred so much as she demonstrated anger. Doesn't establish a prima facie case of second-degree murder. It's for those reasons, Your Honor, that I think that this matter should be, the motion for DOA as to second-degree murder should be granted, and this matter should be allowed to proceed solely on a manslaughter charge, because in fact they have not established prima facie elements as required by law. Thank you, Your Honor.
Thank you. Response.
Yes, thank you. Standard at this time is just a prima facie case, whether any trier of fact in taking all the facts in the light most favorable to the state and the inferences drawn from them establish the elements of the crime. There are three elements to this crime. George Torres is dead has been established by a prima facie case. The death was caused by the criminal act of Sarah Boone that has been established. There was an unlawful killing of George Torres by an act imminently dangerous to another and demonstrating a depraved mind without regard for human life. An act is imminently dangerous to another and demonstrating a depraved mind if it is an act or series of acts that a person of ordinary judgment would know is reasonably certain to kill or do serious bodily injury to another. It's not Ms. Boone's subjective statements on February 25th. I had no idea you could die from being zipped into a suitcase for 13, 15 minutes before she goes to bed. 2, is done from ill will, hatred, spite, or an evil intent. We heard what she said. The 2-minute video starting at 11:12 p.m. 45 seconds would be linked in Merriam-Webster's digital dictionary for the definition of depraved mind. Fuck you, I don't care, laughing is of such a nature that the act itself indicates an indifference to human life. Sarah, that's my name, don't wear it out. Judge, there's no question that a prima facie case has been laid. In addition to the 2-minute video and then the 22-second video 11 minutes later, we also have the defendant's inconsistent statements that she has made in regards to these events. And therefore, we have that factual issue for the jury to decide. She made statements on the 911 call and to law enforcement both.
She admits to shutting the zipper and leaving enough room for his 2 fingers to come out. Those 2 fingers she then whacks with a baseball bat.
From the 24th to 25th that I have no idea what happened. I just went to sleep. Everything was good. And then when confronted with her video on the 25th, we see that there are 2 distinctly different sets of statements that were made. So this is sufficient at this stage in time for a jury question. Thank you.
Thank you. Any other additional argument, Mr. Beck?
No, Your Honor.
Thank you. Thank you both for your arguments. The court, in viewing the light most favorable to the state, the court finds that the state has presented competent but rebuttal evidence to establish each of the elements of the charge contained in the information to the required level of a prima facie showing. As such, the defense's motion for a judgment of acquittal is denied. Defense, do you intend on putting on a case?
Yes.
Ms. Boone, I have a couple of questions to go over with you.
Judge, if I may.
Yes, sir.
In a normal criminal trial, my position has always been to put on the defendant last, call whatever witnesses, put on photographs, and then the client would be the last person to testify. Because of the nature of this charge and our defense, self-defense, and battered spouse, we understand that we have to put on her first, Sarah first, in order to then consider whether or not we established enough evidence for self-defense instruction. So she's going to have to be going first as a witness. I'm going to need a few moments with her based on everything that's going on, based on that denial of that motion for judgment of acquittal, to just go through it again, because I know you're going to ask to comment about all that. So I'm going to need a few moments with her. I don't know, 10 minutes maybe for the 3 lawyers, 4 lawyers, to meet with her. I don't know if we can do it here or maybe back there, but just a short meeting.
Sure, I'll give you that opportunity. But before you do that, ma'am, I don't want to go into any specifics of any conversations that you've had with any of your attorneys in this case. Mr. Owens has identified for the court his normal practice of calling a defendant last in a criminal case. In this case, he has advised that he wants to call you first. Without going into any discussions of any strategy that you've had with your attorneys, do you understand the strategy that Mr. Owens and your team will be utilizing in your defense?
Yes.
And are you in agreement with that strategy?
Yes.
All right, counsel, you can have that opportunity to speak to her. The court will remain here. I don't know if they can, Officer Jones, can we let them back to have that conversation? Okay, all right. You can go back and have that conversation. The court will remain here. We'll be in a short recess for approximately 10 minutes. Thank you.
No, not another break. I just want to see Queen Sarah come up.
Did you just say Queen shit?
Well, it was a Freudian slip almost. And thank you guys so very, very much.
Who is going to be number one? Who will be the one who ticks over, hey, social change warriors? Who will be the one who goes to most channel and give her that sub that puts us past 4,000 subscribers?
See,
Thank
and
you all.
Mr. Mo said I shouldn't buy this yet.
Thank you so
but we
much.
got there. Thank you. And honestly, guys, this has been my dream. So thank you guys so much. YouTube streaming got me out of a really dark place, and people opened the door for me and gave me a chance. And I appreciate so much what, everyone's support and just welcoming in. I have found my tribe. And now Mr. Mo never has to ever listen to me talk about Daryl Brooks or Sarah Boone ever again, because he's like, I don't know these people and I don't care. Thank you guys so very much. It really is great. Now my kids are going to ask if I'm going to meet Mr. Beast now. Probably not. But
Oh, you lost one. You lost one. Someone just unsubbed. No.
It's okay. I do it for all you guys. It's as much as it is about numbers, it's really not. I've found people that, want to just hang out, watch trials, be a little goofy, and that's been amazing. So, and you saved my husband from having to learn about court TV, so he also appreciates it very much.
And Brandon's screen, I'm so sorry that I lied when I said Brandon was pocket banning people on chat. I might have implied he was a little.
Oh.
I know it was you who hates me, Brandon's phone screen. But I'm sorry that I ever claimed Brandon had anything to do with it. It was you. I bet you an iPhone.
Were you in Canton?
Yeah. What if any hate do you have against me?
Jung is correct. Mr. Mo has been paying all of you to come over, so he never has to listen about Daryl Brooks again.
And hey, Tom Gillis. Also a wonderful channel to follow if
yes.
you're sitting out there and thinking, oh my, what should I do? He normally streams when I sleep. So that is right after you had your dinner. He talks about golf because he can handle balls. He is a pro golfer. But thank you all so much for supporting this little stupid community. We have dug out in our little corner of the interwebs. We're not the biggest channels. We're not the most. We're not the most flamboyant. Well, Mo is, but
yeah. I wasn't gonna say. You know what? Yeah, I am.
Yeah, we have been very blessed with a lot of people want to collaborate with us doing different cases, giving us a step up now and again, and we really appreciate all y'all. That's a southern thing for all of you, as I am native to the South, as you can hear in my accent. We started this little journey almost at the same time last year. Mo and I, well, I had been doing Danish content before then, but it's amazing to grow with people, to evolve with people, and to devolve into what we do. If you join us on Saturdays, you will see the de-evolution of streamers.
And
But
for this Saturday, I have a costume that will break Baker. He will be gone the entire stream. You guys, it will be unveiled on Saturday. It's going to be hilarious.
well, I have to get a costume for Friday when I'm on with the expert.
You didn't save the eyelashes?
I can't even find the danger things that I put it somewhere so I could put it up for Jamie again this Halloween, and I can't find it. But
So
this Saturday,
are you
yes, we will have a Saturday. I put up a notice today in the members tab that if you want to be one of the angels we bring on, please go subscribe on the, not subscribe, go on the Discord. There's a room called Waiting for Wings. Go in there and say, hey, I would like to try it. Some of you who are streamers will probably not vet as much as we will people who haven't streamed before. We would like to hear you in voice chat just to make sure that you don't talk too much like Sue. We do have a monetization of the channel to think about. But if you want to try and do a Saturday stream with us, just go sign up for it. It's just silliness, stupidness, and lots of fun. And maybe you're a creator out there who is just getting started, who would like to get a little bump. Let us help you a little bit with that. Maybe you want to see if you want to do something and you think, I really don't know how to do any of that. And the worst part is always looking. I really hate that my camera here has a light on it. The old one I had no lights on it, so you didn't think about it being on all the time. But you might sit there and think, can I even do it? And you'll be on a show with three, one professional and me and Mo. And
yes.
And we can make most of it fun, interesting, and Marissa will hate us every time we put on the crazy French lady. But if you feel maybe I could do this, which I wouldn't recommend it to anyone because this is the hardest job I ever had, you can always put in Waiting for Wings on the Discord.
Yeah.
The Discord is free to join. If you're not a member of the channel, reach out to Marissa or Jess will put it in chat who to reach out to, and you'll get an invite. And then you can join us.
Yeah, and it's a good thing to see if you like it. I will say that it was kind of the biggest step out of my comfort zone to start streaming. And tips, have just good audio. Just be yourself. It's really awkward. If you go back and look at Baker and I's, first starting streams, I don't even watch mine because I feel so awkward watching them, but you'll get, you kind of get your own pace and you get your own ideas, and but it is a growing experience. So, don't look at us here and think we always had our semi-professional stuff in order. Nope. You just slowly grow and learn new things.
Yeah, and Becca, don't worry about. That's why I normally don't bring. Well, if people have been on before, I might bring two on the panel, but normally I only bring one person on because if you get a little embarrassed or something, we will go down some rabbit hole, and you are not carrying the show. You are not obligated to prepare for the show, do anything, pull out topics, anything. We will do all of that. You just have to be there, have a good time, and be funny. Or be mean and yell at us afterwards, like Jamie. Thank you, Shalom D, for becoming a member. I have a face for radio. Julie Fraser, I have a face for radio and a voice for letters. And I can't write.
Disney nerd, my best advice, it might not work for you. Find a song that makes you feel really, really awesome sauce, like, just really great. Listen to that right before you go on stream. It kind of helped me during my first almost year of streaming.
Yeah, Peter is only eye candy. That's why we bring him on, because that's for the ladies. That's the special times. Yeah, don't stay away from war crimes. But Disney Nerd, I don't know what kind of music you like. I used this when I was in politics. Whenever I was going into debate, I was always listening to Triple H's entry music for it's Motorhead, the game. It fired me up, all kinds of crazy. I just got the adrenaline rushing. And you will feel awkward. You will feel, I'm stupid. Where do I put my hands? It's the Will Ferrell in Talladega Nights. You're sitting constantly, and at some point you don't care anymore, and then people are thinking, well, he's kind of weird, but he's okay.
Yes.
Well, it's again, we don't judge.
No.
Kim is a Barbie girl in a Barbie world. Her life is plastic, but it's fantastic. She has wonderful brown hair that you can brush, and you can take her everywhere. Imagination is your creation. That's what I heard. I feel awkward a lot. Well, we all do. And the funny thing about being a YouTube creator, and everyone I've talked to who are YouTube creators, we are all introverts. We hate what we do, and that's why we do it. It's such a weird thing. I never met a creator saying, I love being on camera.
Yeah. And I think you do. I think you invited me on, and Dave was really nice because I'm like, how does one connect to the interwebs? Do I plug it into the wall? Like, where are we going with that?
Yes, and you might also slip up a few times because some people have a thing with words. And Dave has my first English stream as well. I have to come up with questions on cases, trials we are currently following. I'm not good with coming up with questions. Which cases are you following?
Well, and don't assume that your questions aren't valid. I mean, I think being a layperson, sometimes we're like, I'm not a lawyer, but I guarantee if you are having questions about, something, then a bunch of other people probably aren't asking them because they feel like they're, being silly or, stupid asking questions. That's the one thing I've learned is ask a question. I bet a bunch of people in the chat are wondering about it. And I'm okay looking like I don't know things because I don't.
I try to bring on people, and I get hate for it because I did in the Karen Reed case and in the Sandra Birchmore trial case, not case but stream I had. I brought Shizzy on because he didn't know anything about Karen Reed, and people are like, why did you bring him on? He doesn't do anything. No, he's asking the questions that the audience is sitting out there and thinking, I'm new to this. What is this? And then I brought Jamie on to the Sandra Birchmore trial, and people are like, her giggling is annoying. But I used this when I did like a high school education because I was bored and needed someone to talk to. So I just went to school and got my high school degree. And I could feel all these young people in the room were sitting there thinking, oh, I'm afraid to ask that question because people will think I'm dumb. So I was always the one saying, hey, when you are saying that the Viking woman was given the key to the farm when they were married, did that mean that they had a lock on the door, or was it more metaphorical that they were the owner or the one who ran the household? And then we can say, yeah, that's because Viking women was very equal to their men compared to temporary females in the Western world at that time. It was a symbol that he would be the man who provided and she would take care of the home. Oh, thank you. Now I understand. And you could see those little lights in the eyes of people in the class. Don't be afraid to ask the stupid question, because one out there is sitting there thinking, I really don't understand. isn't it a problem that Lieutenant Goodhair got Sarah to the police station without telling her she was going to be arrested? I don't understand why they're just laughing at it. No, I'm not going to ask that question because they'll think I'm dumb. No, that's why you're watching on a commentary channel instead of looking on Law and Crim. Because we can sit here and say, well, it's not illegal and it's a good way so she doesn't run away, and we can have that discussion. That's why I love having a very interactive chat. Was there snow in Canton the night? Somewhere between 3 inches and 45 meters of snow fell.
Yeah.
Well, but you giggle, Jamie. You giggle.
Ooh, yes. Please go over sub to Disney Nerd and put a reminder up for her panel, and we will definitely want to see that.
1 p.m. Eastern Standard Time tomorrow. So probably do a rewatch because we will be.
Yeah, we'll have to be on the rewatch play, but we will definitely.
I like Karen the emu from Useless Farm. Amanda could really do with some love from our fabulous community. Oh, she's the one where the emu always picks at her phone. Is that the one? I don't know. I don't watch enough YouTube. It depends on your body temperature, wind chill factor, but hypothermia will on average set in after 30 minutes. But again, it depends. I was that kid who didn't want to look stupid. Yeah, and it's so sad that people are so afraid of asking questions because they'll think I'm dumb. Then you go to the exam and you're sitting there thinking, I so wish I had asked that question. Is it really true that Sweden is the worst place on the planet? And your teacher would have said, yes, Australia in the Dome of Ohio is a very bad place, but Sweden, 10 times worth. Have you seen Mordor? That's a summer vacation next to Sweden.
Yes, well, I think they have to go over the colloquy, and Owens is probably back there saying, remember all those things we told you not to talk about? Could you please not talk about those?
Well, I read some of your chats. No, I think I'm not good enough for the paying chats because I don't pull them up enough and talk enough about them. Sorry. But I'm also looking at, I follow a lot of comics related channels. And I see this tendency that you only, and maybe I do this as well when I have the big streams, I try to put in some of the non-paid, but if you have like 5,000 people in here, it goes real fast. And in the end, you'll see most of them will be the paid questions. But I try to interact with as many as possible. That's why the Discord is free, because I know life's tough, y'all. And
yeah,
we are here to entertain you. We don't know what you're going through. You might be at home having a really bad day. You might be at work thinking, Deborah is going to get stabbed with a pencil in the neck if she doesn't shut up in 2 minutes. And we are here to take those thoughts away from you. And that's why we try and interact with as many of you as possible.
They have been taking lunch at around noon.
It's on in top of the chat, Brandon. You are an Australian, Dave Bass. Well, so you are also a fan of the Ohio State, because everyone knows Australia isn't real. It's in a dome in the middle of Ohio. Someone invited me to visit her if I ever go to Australia. And I said, if I drive through Ohio, I will stop at the dome and say hi to you. No, they went late last night. I don't think they had much time to check it.
We're back on the record. Case number 2020 CF 2603, State of Florida versus Sarah Boone. State appearances for the record.
David Pester on behalf of the state. William J. for the state.
Defense?
James Owens from Miss Boone.
Tony Henderson for Sarah Boone.
Kevin Zach on behalf of Sarah Boone.
Ms. Boone is seated at council's table wearing the same black blazer and dark blue blouse from this morning. She is in custody, however, not wearing any restraints, so she'll be able to stand when our jury enters, and if she is called to testify in this matter.
No, the dome is where Australia is Australia. It's like the Truman Show. When the British needed to get all of their convicts, mostly Irish, out of Britain back in the day, they shipped them to Ohio, put them inside a giant dome with a lot of alligators, snakes, and stuff like that, in a hope that will whittle down the population. They called it Australia. We know it doesn't exist. So, and that's why they are having spring right now when you have fall, because at some point when they installed the electric heating in the dome, they did it wrong. So it's the other way around. It has nothing to do with the Southern Hemisphere. No one has ever been to Australia who hasn't had an American stamp in their passport. I'm just saying. You know, nothing like a kangaroo exists in the real world. It's a made-up animal that they put in there just to entertain the Irish.
There was a mutation of deer, and that's what happened.
Yeah, it was a moose and a deer looked each other in the eyes one night.
To the witness stand. Ms. Boone, I have a couple of questions to go over with you. Similarly to our conversations earlier today, I don't want to know about any of the substance of any conversations you've had with your attorneys, just whether or not you've had certain conversations. So far, you've been present throughout the entire trial process. You've been seated at counsel's table. You've had the opportunity to observe the evidence presented by the state, as well as the direct and cross-examination of the state's witnesses. Are you satisfied with your attorney up and until this point?
Yes.
Now, I'm going to ask you some questions again about specific conferences and conversations you have with your attorneys. I don't want to know those specifics, just whether or not those things have been had. Have you had the opportunity to discuss with your attorneys whether or not you would like to testify as a witness in this case?
Yes.
Do you need any additional time to discuss that matter with your attorneys?
No.
Have your attorneys discussed with you the potential benefits and potential harms of testifying as a witness in this case?
Yes.
Are you satisfied with the advice from your counsels?
Yes.
Do you understand that attorneys can make most of the decisions about trial strategy? They cannot determine whether or not a defendant testifies or not. Do you understand that?
Yes.
Not even the court can interfere with the defendant's right to make that decision. Do you understand that?
Yes.
Do you understand that it is your decision and your decision alone?
Yes.
While counsel can give you advice on whether or not it would be wise for you to testify in this case, do you understand that you can ignore counsel's advice because the final decision is yours?
Yes.
Do you understand that you have the right to remain silent?
Yes.
Did you hear me explain to the jury at the beginning of the trial how the right to remain silent is absolute, and the fact that a defendant did not testify cannot be considered as evidence of guilt or influence their verdict in any way?
Yes.
Before a jury begins its deliberations, the court will read another jury instruction if you decide not to testify. This instruction orders the jury not to consider your silence as evidence of guilt or to consider your decision at all. Would you like me to read that instruction for you at this time?
Yes.
It is instruction 3.9a, entitled Defendant Not Testifying. The Constitution requires the state to prove its accusations against the defendant. It is not necessary for the defendant to disprove anything, nor is the defendant required to prove her innocence. It is up to the state to prove the defendant's guilt by evidence. The defendant exercised a fundamental right by choosing not to be a witness in this case. You must not view this as an admission of guilt or be influenced in any way by her decision. No juror should ever be concerned that a defendant did or did not take the witness stand to give testimony in the case. Do you have any questions about this instruction?
No, Your Honor.
Do you understand that if you choose to testify, you are waiving your right to remain silent?
Yes.
That means once you begin to answer questions, you have to answer all questions unless I instruct you not to answer a question. Do you understand that?
Yes.
You cannot pick and choose which questions you want to answer and not answer. Do you understand that?
Yes.
Do you understand that if you refuse to answer any questions, the court can impose sanctions, such as holding you in contempt, striking your entire testimony, and instructing the jury not to consider any of your testimony? Do you understand that?
Yes.
If you choose to testify, you will also be subject to cross-examination and impeachment. That means the state could ask you about any prior felony convictions or convictions for crimes of dishonesty if you have any such convictions. If you have any such convictions, the questions will be limited to whether you have such convictions and the number of...
Tammy, cross-examination of Lieutenant Goodhair, worse than expected, and we are now getting to will Sarah testify?
Same. Do you understand that?
Yes.
Are you aware if you have any such convictions?
Yes.
State? Are you aware of any felony convictions or convictions for crimes of dishonesty?
No, I believe she's answering in the affirmative. She's aware that she doesn't.
Okay, so you have no such conviction.
She's so stupid, so she just said yes when he asked if she had any convictions. Yes. Oh, she's already on the stand, gloriously riding on her unicorn out the courtroom with the sash saying, "Homecoming Queen, free at last, free at last." She will be
Lady
the next Rosa
saying
Parks.
it. Oh,
She
good
can see
Lord,
it in
please
her
no.
future. Oh my God.
Okay, thank you for that clarification, ma'am. As there are no convictions, and that number is not in dispute, the state will not be permitted to inquire into those matters. Have you had enough time to discuss your decision to testify or not testify with your attorneys?
Yes.
Again, do you need any additional time?
No.
Has anyone forced you, threatened you to get you to testify or not testify in this case?
No.
Has anyone made any promises to you to get you to testify or not testify in this case?
No.
Are you satisfied with your counsel's advice so far in this case?
Yes.
Are you making this decision freely and voluntarily?
I am.
Did anyone force you, threaten you, or coerce you to testify in this case?
No.
Would you like to testify or not testify as a witness in this case?
Testify.
Okay. And ma'am, similarly, after you've had the opportunity to converse with your lawyers again, I want to confirm that you're on board with the strategy that they've utilized in your defense in this case,
Yes, I understand.
including calling you first.
Yes.
Okay. All right. I want to remind you, ma'am, that you can change your mind. You just have to let your lawyers know before the jury comes back in. Do you understand?
Yes.
State, anything else we need to address?
Just that the law of the case is that there should be testimony from the defendant of an overt act that particular day before there is testimony about reputation evidence, prior instances of violence, or any other ancillary things that come with self-defense.
Holland case speaks for itself. Anything further?
I do want to talk about that, but as it relates to her right to remain silent or testify, I have nothing about it.
Okay. Then what do we need to address with regard to Holland?
But I've got three issues. One is Holland. The other is I've got these gloves. My client and I would like to take a few moments to look at the suitcase and to look at that. And then the third thing is that the state had filed that motion for the in-camera hearing. I don't know. Maybe we need to hear that before she testifies.
Court's not going to address that at this time.
Okay.
We'll address that later in the proceedings.
So the two things, number one, of course, I've got a lot of photographs about the prior violence that George Torres committed on Sarah Boone, and there's a dispute about whether or not I have to establish an overt act that she responded to, that she considered an imminent threat, and that she took evidence or she took action to either block or physically restrain George Torres from committing an act of violence on her. But Judge, if you remember during the 2-hour interrogation, the officers make mention that they are aware of the prior incidences of violence. So I believe the door has been open, but I can go into that based on those statements by the two detectives. If you remember, they introduced this 2-hour video. She says, he comes at me all the time. I think eventually Sarah Boone realized that they had her phone and they were going to see pictures. They were going to see videotapes of evidence that George Torres committed acts of violence on Sarah Boone. I think at that point she changed her tone about George. She was trying to protect George, but then she realized she would have to disclose some of the acts that had been committed on her by George Torres. And so she did talk about him coming at me, and we've had issues before. And the officers gave, I can't remember exactly what they said, but yeah, we're well aware of, I don't know if they said the prior acts or we're aware of the domestic violence, whatever the case may be. I submit that opens the door. That was during their case in chief. They chose to play that entire video. And so I think I can talk about the prior bad acts before the event in question chronologically, and I've got a bunch of photos.
Sorry?
No, it doesn't go. She cannot use the battered spouse or any sort of reputational damage until they do the overt act. That is the ruling. That is what he was told. The state didn't open the door.
No, and there's no opening at all. And them mentioning anything, she mentioned that they had there has been nothing for the last month, a month and a half in the interview, and they said, okay, she mentioned it. It's not opening the door. And it's so stupid.
Photographs that go into physical evidence of her injuries as a result of George's violence.
Okay. Response, if any.
Judge, we're asking for the court to maintain its ruling. We already read an instruction that the police are allowed to tell her things to try and get reactions from her. She affirmatively denied there was an overt act that night to the police. And the court, in its ruling pre-trial, as we're trying to get some guidance on this, reviewed Ms. Boone's most recent statements on the matter, and there's no overt act thus testified to. So we are hopeful that we will maintain that ruling. I don't know how it prejudices her or her team in any way to establish an overt act on February 23rd, 2020, before we go into reputation evidence, prior instances of violence, or matters of substantive evidence.
Any other further argument, Mr. Owens? All right. I don't find that the officer's statements are character evidence, and you're looking for specific instances of conduct, which are going to be utilized for those specific purposes for reputation or the violence to establish the fear component that the case law speaks about. Florida Supreme Court decision in Holland is clear that that overt act needs to be established before any of that evidence is submitted. I don't find that it's an opening of the door, and I'm going to rely on what the Florida Supreme Court has told us to do.
Judge, I've got to get the clerk to mark some photographs, and then my client and I need to take that suitcase out of that box and
Why would you touch the
play with the zipper a
suitcase?
little bit, and then also take that bat out of that paper bag and inspect it before she testifies.
Any response?
I'm just confused why we haven't utilized the nearly half an hour or more that the court has been off the bench to get these photographs marked. The defense team has been on board for quite some time. They did not request a second evidence view of the physical evidence that Ms. Boone already had an opportunity to do while she was pro se. It's 11:25. We need to try the case.
Judge, I think that she had that evidence view, I think, with Billy Lane. I believe that was the day after I filed my notice of appearance, or maybe it was the day I filed my notice of appearance. I don't remember exactly, but it had already been previously scheduled. I was in Milton, so they went ahead and did it that morning, I believe at the jail. I believe the evidence.
Any particular reason why it hasn't been done in the last 45 minutes?
Because
when I sent my jury out.
I've been meeting with my client about her rights to testify or not, and other related matters. So,
Are there not other lawyers?
Giving her this evidence?
Yeah. In terms of anything that the state just discussed.
I've just been busy with my client.
Okay. How much time do you need in order to pre-mark these exhibits and look at the baseball bat and the suitcase, which have been entered into evidence?
Send them to lunch and start up at 12:30. And say,
I'm very concerned because it is 11:25.
This is, I think, where the judge is going to get pissed off and say,
Early
pregnant
lunch. It's
pause,
11:30. Let's take an early lunch. We've got witnesses coming this afternoon anyway. If her testimony ends before 5, we've got 1 or 2 witnesses that are here. And then I believe tomorrow is Wednesday. We've got Dr. Brannon that's going to be here first thing Wednesday morning. And then I believe Dr. Harper's not going to be here till Thursday morning. So we're going to have a little gap in time unless we've got to put on several officers about prior acts and all that. But I think for purposes of this, Judge, in the abundance of caution, I feel like I need to go over this evidence with my client before she testifies. And I have not had a chance to view that evidence other than seeing it here today. But I think I need to do that with her before she testifies.
Okay, can the parties approach for a moment?
Judge is going to...
Oh, the judge doesn't want to say, what the hell have we been doing this entire 2 weeks? You're going to get back there. You're going to put that on there. And you better not make me raise my voice, but nobody's getting a frosty.
Is those lips natural?
No, I don't.
She's
think
what,
so.
25, 27 years old. Why ruin your face in that young of an age? I really don't understand why you women think men like that pouty face. I never met a guy who was thinking, could she look more like she sucked off a vacuum cleaner? But it might just be me. She's a beautiful girl, and then she's
She
ruining
is.
it with all that filler.
Yeah, it just she's beautiful by or without it. I can't imagine how much she has to pay for, the upkeep. But I do feel sad that she felt like she absolutely needed it to make her look better. I don't think I don't know.
No, and I think that's, and you can, I know we all blame the middle-aged cis white men for ruining every young woman in the world, but this young lady, I heard somewhere she's an Instagram model. I feel like Instagram and the tactics and whatever has been the biggest stress on young females. I've seen it in my own girls trying to live up to all of those stupid fake women on the internet. It's I try to make my lighting a little soft so I don't look as haggard as I do, but this constructive. I saw someone yesterday showing you how much it costs to look like a millionaire online, with all the stuff you can rent and look like you're having a wonderful life. It's so sad that they believe they have to live a life where they have to buy all of this stuff to be happy, because
What was that, Jules?
they will never be happy.
From Notorious
No.
Jules? She just smiled at the camera. Love it.
Well, she is a YouTube creator, so
Oh, yeah, I've been watching her updates. I'm glad we're kind of getting how the jury's reacting in real time.
yeah, and I know most of it is it's because you women put too much pressure on. As I always say when they're talking about, oh well, it's men who want women to look a certain way. No, 5 a.m. in any bar, any size of woman can get a man. Men are really, really easy. The problem is, while we men
Especially
are
if they fit
fighting
in
for
a
the
carry-on.
as you men are or as we men are fighting for the 95% of women, you women are fighting for the 5% of men. So you get into these heckling things, and Mo will attest to this. It doesn't matter if he has a six-pack. It matters that he's a good guy.
Yeah.
And they come in all shapes and sizes.
Yeah, and as you get older, the things that you find very attractive will change. So, yes, young Mo could have been swayed by a six-pack. Older, mature Mo could be swayed by Henry Cavill, but couldn't we all?
I think you should get grills, Brandon. This grills is what we need from you.
Platinum. I think we go platinum, little diamonds.
But Julie, that's because you don't want to be picked up by the guy who'll pick you up at 5 a.m. in the morning. There will always be someone ready to jump on the 5 a.m. grenade. I've done it.
That's how I got married. Someone was willing to take me home.
Yes, some are blessed with pouty lips, but I don't understand the blessed part, because pouty lips look like a fish on that's stuck on water.
I think it's the overlining that people do, because a lot of women don't have lip fillers, but they will over exaggerate the lining on their lips. So it's just, yeah.
Well, all the crazy lady calls me in the middle of the night yelling at me. Henry Cavill is real close to a six-pack. Henry Cavill is a genetic freak, but Mo, scenario.
Yes. Okay.
6 months into your relationship with Henry Cavill, and you are going into his room saying, honey, I really need my office to be moved. And he's sitting there saying, but honey, I'm painting my Warhammer army. I'm going to this convention in the weekend. My custodians isn't looking good. Can you wait? Does it matter that Henry Cavill is He has slightly too short arms, but he's a very beautiful man. But even Gigi Hadid has a man sitting next to her right now thinking, could she just shut up for 2 seconds? Because it'll wear off.
Baker, is he wearing a shirt or not? Because I think I'd be much more lenient if he wasn't wearing a shirt.
I'm saying 6 months in. I'm not saying the first 3 weeks. When you have found his dirty underwear too many times on the floor, you fell in the toilet the night before, all of those stuff.
Yeah, he'd still get yelled at, but he's still Henry Cavill. So, like, I'm not going to kick him out of bed for making cracker crumbs.
No, you cray called me in the middle of the day yelling at me. But someone... Jamie and Peter made a beauty on a budget, but she made it him so wonderful that her husband won't allow his wife won't allow him to air it. But you will get annoyed because that guy is going to talk about Warhammer 40K, how his custodies are really cool because not many have those armies because they're very expensive in points, and it's an expensive army to build. And on the battlefield, point for point, they're not really pulling their weight, and that's going to be annoying. They have those cool hover bikes and the Guardian Spears with the boulders, but even though they are insanely powerful and with the armor, I just don't feel we get enough bang for the buck for it. And all of you ladies will think, oh, the Hera are top.
It is 11:35. Councils have matters that they need to address with Madam Clerk for the pre-marking of exhibits, and along with the review of the suitcase and bat, which were previously entered into evidence. I'm going to bring based on the agreement of the parties, I'm going to bring our jury panel in at this time, release them for lunch, give them a similar instruction to the instructions they've been provided earlier, and we will commence promptly at 1 o'clock this afternoon. State, any disagreement with the battle plan so far? Same question, Mr. Owens. All right, let's go ahead and stand by, bring it back in our panel.
Hey, Sarah's never been single. Sarah's been in a relationship her entire life. I have been single for a very long time. So it just shows that Cray Cray gets more than only Cray Crays.
Jury entering.
State, do you recognize our jury?
Yes, sir.
Defense, do you recognize our jury?
Yes.
I thank you all can be seated.
I want them to say no.
Members of the jury, again, once you're seated and comfortable, if you could raise your hands to confirm that you complied with the court's instructions. All right, thank you very much. Thank you for your patience. Matters with counsel took a little bit longer than we anticipated. We're going to take an earlier break today. It's 11:35. We anticipate the defense putting on a case this afternoon, and we don't want to get into it and then have to break a half an hour into it. So we're going to go ahead and take that break at this time. I'm going to give you a similar instruction as I've read to you over the last couple of days. Jurors, you must not conduct any investigation on your own. This includes reading newspapers, watching television.
Blah, 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 blah. Well,
Yeah.
false advertising. I said Sarah would take the stand because I believed the defense when they said they would only use 35 minutes. When I end this stream, I will redirect to the afternoon stream. We will be back
Yes,
a little before 1. We'll be back. Mo will redirect to her afternoon stream, and we'll be back 10 to 1 or something like that, ready to go with Sarah, Sarah, Sarah Boone. Sarah, Sarah, Sarah Boone. She's the little girl who can't stop online, but Sarah will try understand. I couldn't do that song. I was wrong. I started in the wrong way. What is 40K? I thought you only did that when you're cleaning up the 40K is
related to this case or your jury service. Do not discuss this case or ask for advice
a
by
role-playing
any
game.
means at all, including posting information on an internet website,
I don't like feed.
chat room, or blog.
I don't
With that,
understand.
members
I
of the
hate
jury, I
feed.
thank you for your time and your service and your attentiveness, and we'll see you at 1 o'clock this afternoon. Thank you. Y'all may be seated. Thank you. State in the defense, if you could please review those items and please mark every defense exhibit at this time with Madam Clerk, and I will see you all to commence promptly at 1 p.m. Court's in recess. Thank you.
Judge ain't happy.
No, I cannot believe that they are still so disorganized. I mean, Owen kind of made it sound like, once the trial got here, we were going to be on, firing on all cylinders. And that's not the case. That is not the case by a very long shot. And it's also disrespectful to all of his employees. I mean, the clerk, everything else. So not only are the jurors, being kind of just made to wait, but, the clerk and Owens generally goes out of his way to say, like, look, the clerk wouldn't get back to me. I mean, he always throws other people under the bus.
Yeah, he's like Sarah. They are like peas in a pot. And I don't know why you pee in a pot, but apparently you do. This is a better trial than the guy in Ohio. No, because he yelled, I did it, as the first thing. And we had 4 meth heads testifying. I believe 2 of them were high. No, he wasn't the guy who admitted it. He's the guy where his daughter's grandma had been in my comments telling me about it. That's what's weird being a streamer. I have had the victim's sister and the defendant's grandmother in my chat, and I am a silly little channel. I have no viewers compared to the big guys. But both of those people were in my chat telling me how they saw it. It's very weird all of a sudden. I think I should do more interviews. Not that I'm good at it, but could be interesting. I like doing those.
Yes, we should do more interviews. I think it's easy when we do trials to kind of get in the spectacle of it. And I think we're always really mindful that, there are victims. There's the defendant's family who didn't ask for any of this to happen either. There's a lot of people that are affected, and sometimes having that human connection to it is really important.
Yeah. And they will get the time to view it now because he sent the jury out to lunch. So we will be going to lunch also and be back in roughly an hour. So
yes,
go get you your Dr. Peppers, your trial snacks. Maybe, like me, get your suitcase ready just to see if you can fit in it. And but I just don't know how to. I'm not good at reaching out to people.
yes.
Well, I'm not a true crimer. I'm a trial streamer. So that's what I say to myself whenever, oh, you become a true crimer. No, I'm not. My audience isn't primarily 35 to 55-year-old women. Oh, only 85% of them.
Look, we have to have something to do. And apparently, speculating about unaliving people is what us females do.
I don't know if you can answer this. I don't know anything about the Alderson case. It doesn't ring any bells with me when I see it. It's just a stupid family doing stupid stuff. I don't know anything about it.
I have not kept up with that. I will tell you that just keeping up with Delphi in this case this week has been a lot. I do plan to circle back and get that.
Publicly bus, please let me believe that I'm not a law tuber. I don't know why people are so bad about law. There's so much content out there. And yeah, of course, I'm a true crimer. And so all of that. I just did a Danish P. Diddy podcast. And I don't know why, but YouTube won't upload my podcast now. So if you want to listen to my Danish podcast, go to Spotify. We are all true crimers, law crimers, all of that stuff. There's certain stuff that I don't do that other true crimers do. I don't do the body language experts because I could just read tea leaves. It's about as accurate, and I don't speculate too much. Let me keep it at that one. You won't have any money for figurines after this. No, but you will have a nice grill. Make the grill say Brandon in diamonds. Get some ice.
True.
Exactly. All of these people who tell you, well, you can clearly see the way she touched her hair is an indication that in her 5th grade, she had a traumatic experience with a comb and an uncle. They are filling you with BS. But it sells on the internet, so I will turn
a comb
into
and an uncle.
Yeah. Is there fake crimers? Yes, me. I'm a fake. You're a fake too. You claim you're from Indonesia when you try to get my PayPal thing. Salty Dog won a giveaway, and someone wrote me an email saying they were Salty Dog. Couldn't I just transfer the money to them? And I was like, what the? No, I'm going to send you the package. Just give me your address. And then I put out that I hadn't gotten all the addresses, and Salty Dog said, I've sent you mine. So I just hadn't seen it, but someone was trying to scam me out of, I don't know what the amount of money I give in the giveaways. It's like $20, $30 worth of candy. And they wanted me to direct payment. No. If you ever win anything in a giveaway, I will be planning a giveaway before Christmas where I'll be giving away some Christmas Lego. If you ever win anything, you will never, ever receive any monies, and you will never, ever be asked for any, you have to fill in this and that. It'll only be, you'll have to give me your address later, and I will forget it faster than Sarah Boone forgot she put Jorge into a suitcase, because don't trust anyone on the internet. And all y'all who got gifts from me sadly have my address now, because I can't hide that. So hopefully you won't tell it to too many people. Yeah, that was a scam. But what Shalom said was quite hilarious. I didn't see what Shalom said. Oh. Not actually trying to get murdered. Wife takes that until death. Do we? Yeah, well, I'm still saying get some ice. Get her name on your grill. Is grill still still a thing in the rap community?
Don't know.
How can we ship stuff to you? Ship it to Jamie, and she'll eat it for me. I don't know, but you were fun. Wonder what Danish SWAT looks like. Well, good luck trying to get them to SWAT me, because they don't do that in Denmark. Because we don't have pew-pews around here. So very unlikely that would ever happen. And I'm not famous, but I have a very recognizable name. And I used to be in city council, and I have been a layman for 13 years. most police officers kind of know my name. So they would probably call me and say, "Hey, buddy, what's going on?" So, yeah.
How you doing today? So you
Yeah.
don't have yourself in a suitcase?
Hey, Debbie Bear. Bear? It's like me being called Bacon. Oh, and Melanie just took a break. Well, we are also going to take a break. So, nice that you swang by here. We're just sitting here talking about being doxxed. Of course, I'm just flexing my importance. Well, I'm not that important anymore. I got thrown out of politics after one period. She is going to testify. Yes. Can she still take the plea offer? Highly unlikely. The state will probably say, "You had your chance, you blew it. Hasta la taco." That's what's going to happen.
Yeah.
Broken bacon, exactly. They're getting their delay 1 minute at a time. Well, sadly, the judge ordered them, you have to file your stuff by 5 tonight. And the only problem will be tomorrow. I won't be here tomorrow. Marissa will join Mo because I have to take care of Monty, my other brother's dog. But it looks like it's going to be a kind of short day maybe tomorrow. And then we have to wait for another expert on Thursday. They should be told, nope, you put on your case, you get your witnesses ready. We don't wait for you. You are ready to go.
Yeah, I mean, the lack of planning here has been astounding and phenomenal. I have never seen more ill-prepared people come to do a serious job. It's like, oh, well, we'll get to it, or oh, we didn't have time. Just all the excuses everywhere.
Yeah, the littlest, most fearless one would sit there and say, I can come up with better stories than this. I at least used the robbers.
Well, I will say on that note, as we get ready to leave, I was driving back and listening to the trial on my radio in the car, and my son was like, "That's really dumb. Does she know how to play hide and seek? That's the dumbest thing ever." And then my other son was like, "I think we have a suitcase at home. Griffin, do you want to get into it?" And I was like, "No, no, you will not. I am confiscating all of the suitcases." And he's like, "Yeah, but it seems like a fun thing. This chick did it." And I was like, "No."
And Shalom D, I have to agree with you. The best war in the world was the whiskey war. Well, we call it Snaps War. The battle between Canada and Denmark about Hans Ø. They call it Hans Island or something, but that's wrong. It's a war that's been going on since, I believe, the 60s, maybe 70s, about the island between Denmark and Canada, because we two nations are neighbors. Most people don't know that, but we are. And every year, the Danish Navy will sail to this little island, put up a Danish flag in a flagpole, and leave a bottle of schnapps. Then at some point, the Canada army will go by, pull down the Danish flag, fold it up nicely, put up the Canadian flag, and leave a bottle of whiskey. And that's been an ongoing war for, I think, more than 50 years, maybe 40 years. I can't remember. Then we had a resolution, I think, 2 or 3 years ago, where we split it down the middle. So that's the land border between Canada and Denmark, two nations on two different continents who share a border. I think we're one of the few two nations who share a land border while not being situated anywhere near each other. But it's because Hans Ø is a part of Greenland. Greenland is a part of Denmark, because we are that cool. On that note, go get something to eat, and I'll try and eat something as well, because I only had breakfast today, and I'm feeling peckish.
What exhibit are you referring to?
I'm going to make this 100, Your Honor.
All right.
100.
100.
Because it is 100% correct.
Objection, Your Honor.
So you literally built a cannon?
Yeah, it's pretty awesome.
All right, I'm in love.
Go back. Please do that again. Oh, that was the cutest thing I've ever seen.
While I'm waiting for this, did you whether it's true or not, believe that Mr. Randolph had slept with your wife?
I wouldn't care.
You wouldn't have cared?
No,
Did you believe he had slept with your wife?
no,
Did you believe he slept with your mother-in-law?
probably did. Everybody has.
So there-
Everybody has.